Chapter 1300. Xiao Ru was suddenly no longer afraid and she stopped trembling. She didn't know where the strength came from, but she suddenly pushed him away and stared at him. Xiao Bao was obviously very surprised, but then his smiling face changed color, and his eyes flashed with a blade-like light. Very good, you didn't mention what happened last time. This young master had already planned to forget about it, but you just had to bring it up. This young master's principle is to pay back what you pay back. Since you're this happy, then fine, if this young master doesn't take revenge, wouldn't that be unfair to you? He gave a cold laugh and took a deep breath. The bones in his body began to crack again and his entire body began to grow at a speed visible to the naked eye. Xiao Ru's eyes almost popped out. She watched as the boy in front of her turned into a tall and slender man. Her mouth was wide open and she couldn't close it no matter what. The red-clothed young master gave a cold laugh and said to himself, "Look at this stupid face, he's actually that little girl's personal maid. If it wasn't for..." He suddenly stopped smiling and reached out his hand to Xiao Ru. "Last time you took off this young master's clothes, now it's this young master's turn to take off your clothes. Hey, how you treated me last time, this young master will treat you now. After I take off your clothes, I'll hang you on the city gate and let everyone see you naked. Isn't that interesting?" "No!" Xiao Ru screamed out. Her heart was about to jump out of her chest. She was anxious, afraid, ashamed, and angry. She suddenly used all her strength to slam into the wall. If she had to endure this kind of humiliation, she would rather die right now. You want to die? Do you think it's that easy? Once you fall into this young master's hands, you won't be able to die even if you want to. The red-clothed young master gave a laugh and gently waved his sleeve. A gentle wind once again sealed Xiao Ru's acupuncture point. She couldn't move again. She could only be like a puppet, at the mercy of this young master. "You! Kill me, just kill me!" Xiao Ru cried out in tears. She had gritted her teeth to not cry, but now she couldn't control her tears. Seeing her crystal-clear tears flowing down her cheeks, the red-clothed young master's cold heart did not move at all. Rather he smiled even more happily. He was like a cat that had caught a mouse. The more painful the mouse was, the more excited he became. That slender white hand finally touched Xiao Ru's belt. With a gentle pull, her belt broke. Wah! Xiao Ru couldn't hold it in anymore. She began to cry as her tears fell like rain. The red-clothed young master was shocked, but then he began to smile. "Miss Xiao Ru, what are you afraid of? Firstly, I won't hit you, and secondly, I won't kill you. I'll just take off your clothes. Didn't you wear nothing when you were born?" He slowly said. And while he said, Xiao Ru. As he spoke, he tore off one of her ribbons. Xiao Ru. Xiao Ru, if you answer me honestly, then maybe I won't take off your clothes. The red-clothed young master picked up a piece of her clothes and looked at her crying face with a smile. What are you saying?" Xiao Ru couldn't help sniffling. She raised her teary eyes. Chapter 1301. Whatever I ask you, you will honestly answer. If you tell a lie, what do you think will happen to me? The red-clothed young master's eyes looked over Xiao Ru's body with bad intentions. He found that although this little girl had a childish face, her figure was not bad. She was fat when she should be fat and thin when she should be thin. Although Xiao Ru did not understand the matters between men and women, when she saw his eyes fall on her body, she couldn't help getting goosebumps. It was like she was being stared at by something dirty. You can ask," she said in a trembling voice. "That's good. Let me ask you, what does your young miss like the most? What places does she like to go? What things does she like? For example, eating, drinking, playing, and having fun. What does she hate the most? What kind of people and things does she hate the most? Xiao Ru was stunned. Then she opened her eyes wide and looked at him with a vigilant expression. Why are you asking this? Why are you asking about my young miss matters? The red-clothed young master smiled and said, Of course it's to prepare a large gift for your young miss. Since it's a gift, I have to give her what she likes and give her something she likes. If my gift makes her unhappy, then wouldn't my gift be for nothing? That's all you want to ask. Xiao Ru looked at him in a daze. Her face was filled with disbelief. That's right, aren't these questions very simple? You've served your young miss for so many years, so you should know what she likes and dislikes the most. As long as you honestly answer my questions, I'll let you go. You'll really let me go? Xiao Ru's eyes lit up. Of course. The red-clothed young master smiled and nodded. Xiao Ru lowered her head to think. The red-clothed young master slowly said, This young master's patience is not very good. If I count to 3 and you still don't speak, then this young master will not be polite to you. His hand tugged at one of her ribbons again. Xiao Ru suddenly looked up with a determined look on her face. I don't know. The red-clothed young master was surprised. After being stunned for a moment, he said, If you don't say it, then I'll take off your clothes. Xiao Ru raised her chin, You can do whatever you want to me, but don't even think about getting a single word about my young miss from my mouth. Humph, do you think I'm stupid? You clearly have bad intentions and want to harm my young miss, so I won't tell you. If you want to ask me anything, I'll tell you, but I don't know anything about my young miss. She remembered that Qin Ning had told her the story of the old mister and the wolf. The red-clothed man in front of her was a true white-eyed wolf. The man in red was slightly surprised, and a haze flashed in his eyes. He said with a cold face, You really won't say. Ru Xiao 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 Ru. Although Xiao Ru was afraid, she still gathered her courage and loudly said, The young miss told me that in this world, it is impossible for a wolf to not eat a sheep. A wolf will sometimes put on a sheep's skin and pretend to be a sheep, but his goal is to confuse the sheep. When the sheep relaxes its guard, he will eat the sheep in one bite. Don't try to lie to me. I don't believe a single word you say. Chapter 1302. Alright, stinky girl, I was planning on letting you go, but you forced me to do this, so don't blame me. The red-clothed young master gave a fiendish laugh. He grabbed a piece of her clothes and forcefully tore it. Before the cloth fell to the ground, Xiao Ru had already fainted. The red-clothed young master was stunned. He looked down at the unconscious Xiao Ru and hatefully said, Stinky girl, your mouth is quite tough, but your courage is even smaller than a mouse's. Since Xiao Ru had fainted from fright, there was no need to scare her anymore. He pondered for a bit and then suddenly pulled out a dagger. He cut off a lock of Xiao Ru's hair and revealed a fiendish smile. With this girl in his hands, he wasn't afraid that he wouldn't be able to attract that crafty master behind her. Qin Ning busied herself all the way until the morning of the next day before finally finishing. She looked at the result of her work and revealed a confident smile. She carefully put away the treasure she had personally made. She stretched out and found that the sky outside was already bright and Mo Chuan hadn't come in all night. What was he busy with? She blew out the candle and opened the door to walk out. She found that there were several new maids and eunuchs in the yard, sweeping the yard. Greetings to the Empress. Everyone bowed when they saw her. At this time, the corpses and bloodstains had all been cleaned up, not leaving a single trace. The smell of blood had been replaced by the fragrance of flowers. But the bloody scene still appeared in front of Qin Ning's eyes and her heart filled with shock. She sucked in a breath and suppressed the strange emotions in her heart. She faintly asked, What about the Emperor? The emperor went to morning court. Before he left, he told us not to wake the empress. He also told the empress not to worry, it's safe here and no one will come to disturb the empress. A palace maid replied respectfully. Chen Ning nodded and looked around. She found that the new maids were just normal eunuchs and maids, they didn't look like martial arts experts. But she knew the meaning behind Mo Chuan's words. He was worried about her, worried that the assassins from Purple Heaven Pavilion would come back, but he was the ruler of a country. There were countless political matters that needed to be dealt with every day. He had to go to court every day, so he couldn't always stay by her side to protect her. So he must have transferred the secret guards over. Although she couldn't see a single person, she believed that the Guanyu Palace was surrounded by secret guards. After a busy night, she was indeed very tired. So she went back to her room and fell asleep. Although she was worried about Xiao Ru's safety, she knew that she was helpless. The only thing she could do was wait. Wait for the Purple Heaven Pavilion assassins to show themselves. Mo Chuan's analysis was very reasonable. If the murderer wanted to kill Xiao Ru, it would be very easy. Entering the palace to kill a person was much simpler than entering the palace to kidnap a person. If that assassin could go through so much trouble to kidnap Xiao Ru, then he definitely wouldn't take her life. He would use Xiao Ru to threaten her, so as long as she waited quietly, he would show himself sooner or later. She slept soundly and soundly. After an unknown amount of time, she finally had enough sleep. When she opened her eyes, she felt very satisfied. Suddenly, she was stunned as she stared in front of her in a daze. Mo Chuan, when did you come? Chapter 1303. Chen Ning also noticed that there were candles in the room, but the candles were in the corner, making it very dark. It must have been Mo Chuan's orders, not wanting the light to affect her sleep. Her face turned a little red. Thinking that her sleeping appearance was seen by Mo Chuan, she was a little shy. I've been here for a while. I wanted to eat with you, but I never thought that you would be this lazy, actually sleeping until now. Mo Chuan gave a gentle laugh and patted her but through the blanket. Why aren't you getting up? The food is getting cold. Chen Ning stuck out her tongue in embarrassment and got off the bed. She saw that there were several exquisite dishes on the square table. Although they were cold, the fragrance still filled her nose. Since you're here, why didn't you wake me up? You were sleeping so soundly, how could I bear to wake you up? Mo Chuan reached out and held her in his embrace. He walked to the table and placed her on the chair. Eat, these are all your favorite dishes, so eat more. You little girl, you don't know how to take care of your body when I'm not here. You haven't eaten all day, right? Aren't you hungry? Chen Ning's stomach was indeed growling from hunger. Hearing this, she remembered that she really hadn't eaten anything all day, so she went to sleep right after. Mo Chuan placed a chopstick in front of her mouth. She revealed a faint smile and opened her mouth to eat. She said with a smile, I'm not a 3-year-old baby, I can eat by myself. She raised her chopsticks, but Mo Chuan reached out and flicked his chopsticks, breaking them in half. What do you mean by this? You don't want me to eat anymore? She was stunned. I'll feed you. Mo Chuan placed another chopstick in her mouth without saying anything. Chen Ning ate the food, but her eyes kept looking over Mo Chuan's face. Something was strange. She understood Mo Chuan too well. Although he was very good to her, he was still the emperor. He was used to having people serving him, so he was not used to serving others at all. Now, he was actually feeding her with his own mouth. Something must have gone wrong. She didn't say anything. It was rare for Mo Chuan to take the initiative, so of course she would enjoy it. After eating her fill, Mo Chuan looked out the window and suggested, do you want to go out and look at the moon? Look at the moon. She never knew that Mo Chuan had this kind of romantic thoughts before. It was clear that he had something to say to her. All right. Of course, she nodded in agreement. The two of them walked hand in hand in the garden, breathing in the air with the fragrance of the flowers. It was refreshing. The moonlight was as soft as a veil, draping over the two's shoulders, covering their faces with a layer of hazy light. The fragrance of the flowers floated and the moonlight flowed like water. The surroundings were filled with peace. Everything in front of him made the bloody massacre yesterday seem so far away, as if it had happened in two different worlds. Neither of them spoke, and they walked in silence for a while. Chen Ning Chuan Chen. Chen Ning suddenly stopped. Chuan. Under the moonlight, she looked up at Imo Chuan. Her clear-as-water eyes became gentle because of the moonlight. Chen say. In. Shen in Ning. Shen in. Chapter 1304. This was because Mo Chuan did not have any secrets in front of her. He had never been hesitant like he was today, not beating around the bush. Mo Chuan couldn't help letting out a sigh and pinching her nose. How are you so smart? I haven't even said anything and you can already see through it. Then guess, what am I going to say to you? I'm not smart at all because I can't guess what you're going to say at all. She shook her head. Mo Chuan pondered for a bit and looked at her with a hesitant appearance. What is it? If you didn't want to tell me, you wouldn't have asked me out to see the moon. But since I've already come out, you should just say it. Chen Ning couldn't help rolling her eyes at him. Mo Chuan still did not say a word. Chen Ning's breathing stopped and she revealed a nervous expression. Did something happen to Xiao Ru? Is there any news from Jui Feng? Or did you receive the news from the culprit? It's not Xiao Ru. Mo Chuan finally slowly spat out a few words, allowing Chen Ning's heart to fall down from her throat. Then what is it? She asked again. Mo Chuan looked at her. Do you know that on the day of the Dragon Boat Festival, Mother is holding a banquet in the palace to celebrate Zhao Rong's birthday? Chen Ning nodded. I do. There were no walls in the palace that didn't have ears. Even if there was a bit of wind, it would be blown into her ears, not to mention this kind of grand event. Then do you know that Mother, she doesn't want you to appear at the banquet that night? Mo Chuan hesitated for a bit, but he still said it. He didn't want to say it because it made him feel like he was betraying Empress Dowager Zhou. But he knew that even if he didn't say it, she would find out sooner or later. Chen Ning revealed a faint smile and said in an uncaring voice, although I don't know, I can guess that the banquet was specially held for your cousin Zhao Rong. She was the main character of the banquet that day, so if I appeared, wouldn't I steal her limelight? So the Empress Dowager not wanting me to appear at that event is a reasonable matter. Since she doesn't want me to appear, then I won't appear. Pretending to be sick or something isn't a hard thing for me. She didn't want to see Zhao Rong's princess, but she never thought that the Empress Dowager Zhou would still protect her after knowing Zhao Rong's scheme against Mo Chuan. Since it was like this, she would rather not see it out of her mind. But Mother suddenly summoned me to the palace today. She told me again and again that you must appear that day. Mo Chuan shook his head and slowly said. You're saying that the Empress Dowager changed her mind? Chen Ning was a little surprised. Mo Chuan gave an sound and held her hand. Mother's heart has always been firm and never changes easily, so I suspect that something will happen at the palace banquet that day. It's best if you don't go. Chen Ning's eyes slightly turned and she thought for a moment before saying, You're right, the Empress Dowager's decision will not change. For the Empress Dowager to change her mind, there must be a special reason. However, since the Empress Dowager has said it, if I don't appear as the Empress, wouldn't it be a reason for others to criticize me? Chen of Mo of you said of this in of to two of Chen. To say, I Chuan, I to come of me of you. Of I, Mo of. Chuan, I Chen, I. Chapter 1305. Mo Chuan thought of Empress Dowager Zhou's expression and his heart filled with a trace of vigilance. Although he couldn't guess Empress Dowager Zhou's thoughts, his intuition told him that the situation was bad. Relax, if the Empress Dowager really wants to make it hard for me, it doesn't count for anything. She is your elder and your mother, so no matter what she says or does, I will endure it. I won't embarrass her. Chen Ning said with a faint smile. You know that the one I'm worried about is you. Zhao Rong has mother supporting her, so I'm afraid she will harm you. Mo Chuan stared at her. Then you don't need to worry. The Empress Dowager is my elder and I respect her, but what about Zhao Rong? If she dares to provoke me again, do you think I'm the kind of pitiful person who would endure being bullied by others? She revealed another smile. Ning, Mo Chuan knit his brows. He wanted to say something else, but Chen Ning cut him off. Mo Chuan, didn't you have Zhui Feng follow Zhao Rong's princess? Is there any news? No, Zhui Feng sent back news that after Zhao Rong returned to the Duke Ning Palace, she hasn't left. When Mo Chuan mentioned this, his heart filled with an indescribable anger. He clearly knew that the mastermind was Zhao Rong, but he couldn't do anything to her because he didn't have any evidence. If he told Empress Dowager Zhou about this matter now, he would be scolded by Empress Dowager Zhou. If Duke Ning found out about this, it would cause even more trouble. She hasn't left. Chen Ning's heart skipped a beat and she suddenly said, Mo Chuan, do you think there's a possibility that the Purple Heaven Pavilion's murderer is hiding in the Duke Ning Palace? Mo Chuan's eyes lit up and he forcefully slapped the tree beside him as he said, That's right, why didn't I think of this? What is the safest place in the capital city? Naturally it's the Duke Ning Palace. As long as he hides in the Duke Ning Palace, who can find him? Alright, I'll immediately send someone to inform Zhui Feng and have him search the Duke Ning Palace for Xiao Ru. He sent out a signal and summoned the secret guard. He gave a few orders in a low voice and the secret guard immediately left. Chen Ning let out a sigh. The things that happened yesterday came one after another. Especially Xiao Ru's disappearance, it made her even more worried and she couldn't calm her heart to think about it. After a good night's sleep, she felt that her mind had become more flexible, and her thoughts were clearer. Although Mo Chuan was smart, he was still a man, so he only cared about the matters of the country. He wasn't meticulous like a woman. Ning, on the day of the Dragon Boat Festival, do you really have to attend? Mo Chuan asked. He still couldn't relax. He could stop anyone from hurting her, but Ning, Dowager Dao of Zhou, Ning said with a of. Empress Dowager Zhou had given birth to him and raised him. She had spent her entire life on him and used all her strength to raise him. He had gone against his mother's wishes and insisted on making Qin Ning the Empress, which had already deeply hurt his mother's heart. If he went against his mother in front of all the ministers, he would be very unfilial. Chen Ning's eyes sparkled as she looked at him with a determined expression. All right. Mo Chuan gave a sigh in his heart, but he reached out to pull her into his embrace. Chen of Chen Ning Dower Ting Ting Chen 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 with of. Ning. Chen Ning felt his embrace and warmth and her heart was filled with warmth. Chapter 1306. It's already late, let's go back and rest. Mo Chuan, you didn't sleep at all last night, right? Chen Ning looked up in his embrace. Although his eyes were still filled with light, there was a faint shadow under his eyes. She understood that he must have guarded her in the yard for an entire night, not sleeping at all. Then he went to morning court as soon as the sun came up, and after he finished his work, he immediately came back to her side. This kind of hard work made her heart ache and moved. Are you done with your things? Mo Chuan held her tightly and didn't answer her question. Chen Ning couldn't help pursing her lips into a smile. She intimately scratched the tip of his nose and said with a smile, "It's done. Moreover, I've put away all the little snakes, so you don't need to worry. You can have a good night's sleep tonight." Mo Chuan's face turned red. It was a good thing she didn't see it in the dim moonlight, otherwise she would laugh at him again. He was feeling more and more regret now. Why did he tell her about his fear of snakes? Very good, then let's go rest now. He purposefully emphasized the word rest. She was very smart, how could she not understand his meaning? Her face turned slightly hot as she shook her head and said, "No. Why not? Your body is already much better, how long do you want me to wait on?" He tightly held her waist. Her soft and fragrant body leaned into his embrace, making his heart run wild and his imagination run wild. Mo Chuan, we really can't. Xiao Ru's life is uncertain and her whereabouts are unknown. How can I do that with you? Her face turned red as she shook her head. Although her expression was shy, her voice was very firm. Mo Chuan lifted her chin and gently kissed her lips. In a soft voice, he said, "I know, I won't make it hard for you. I promise you, you'll obediently lie in my embrace tonight and I won't touch you at all right?" He didn't really want to do anything with her, he just wanted to tease her. Seeing her anxious appearance, his heart was very satisfied. "No." Chen Ning still shook her head. Mo Chuan's face sunk, "Why not? Are you afraid that I won't do what I say?" He merely wanted to hug her to sleep, yet she rejected him. What was going on in this girl's head right now? Chen Ning looked at him and said, "Mo Chuan, I believe you, but if you sleep with me, you won't be able to sleep well." Her face turned slightly red as she muttered. Mo Chuan immediately understood her meaning. She was right, every time he hugged her, his thoughts would run wild, but even like this, he couldn't bear to let go of her. He couldn't bear to let go of the rare moments they could spend together. "But if you don't sleep with me, I won't be able to sleep well." He forcefully blocked her lips, forcing her protest back into her mouth. "Woo, Mo Chuan, listen to me." Her unclear voice floated out, but he didn't want to hear her say. He didn't want to hear her rejection, so he kissed her even more deeply, telling her all the thoughts he had for the whole day through this kiss. Chen Ning couldn't break free and could only let him kiss her. She raised her lashes and looked at his incomparably serious face. Her heart was filled with an indescribable feeling of sourness. Chapter 1307. After an unknown amount of time, Mo Chuan finally let go of her. His eyes softly stared at her, filled with tenderness and sweetness. Under this kind of moonlight, being stared at by his eyes filled with love, she felt like her heart was about to melt. In his warm and firm embrace, she felt very solid. It was like even if the sky fell down, he would be there to support it. She didn't need to think or worry about anything. Mo Chuan's eyes fell onto her lips again. The feeling of their lips entangling was too beautiful, he wanted to continue kissing her again. She quickly covered his mouth and shook her head as she said, "Don't, let me finish first." She didn't even have time to say what she wanted to say before being interrupted by him. The moon was about to rise into the sky, so if she didn't say it now, it would be too late. "You're not allowed to say anything I don't want to hear," he threatened. She wanted to laugh again. His sudden childishness always made her laugh. "Mo Chuan, I have a serious matter to talk to you about." She stopped smiling and looked at him with a serious expression. "Serious matter? What serious matter?" She stood on her tiptoes and moved her lips close to Mo Chuan's ears, whispering a few words. "No, you definitely can't." Before she could finish, she was already interrupted by Mo Chuan without any hesitation. "Ning, do you know how dangerous you are right now? You have been targeted by the Purple Heaven Pavilion's assassins and they have never failed before. Last time that assassin didn't make a move against you because he deliberately let you go. He killed all the people in your palace, wanting to give you a warning. Now, his target is you. At this critical time, you actually want me to withdraw half of the hidden guards in the palace. Are you deliberately giving that assassin an opportunity? Chen Ning revealed a faint smile and said, "You're right, I want to give him an opportunity because I prepared a special gift for him. If he doesn't come, wouldn't my gift have been for nothing?" Mo Chuan instantly understood her meaning and said in a surprised and happy voice, "So you were busy all night yesterday, preparing something for that assassin? Otherwise, who do you think I made it for?" Chen Ning couldn't help rolling her eyes at him. Mo Chuan revealed a faint smile and said, "I understand. Alright, I'll immediately withdraw half of the hidden guards. I still have work to do tonight, so I'll be in the royal study to read the documents. Like this, are you satisfied?" "Satisfied, very satisfied." Chen Ning and Mo Chuan smiled at each other, of course of their hearts. "I believe that this news will soon spread. Let's just quietly spread the net and wait for the big fish to walk into the trap." She smiled confidently. "Why are you so sure that person will appear tonight?" Mo Chuan stared at her. Chen Ning smiled and did not reply. She asked in return, "Mo Chuan, there are many new palace servants that came to the Guan Osprey Palace today. Did you personally choose all of them?" Mo Chuan shook his head and said, "No, the court is very busy today, so I can't come. I let Xiao Si choose." "What, are you not satisfied with these people? Were they unable to move or did someone bump into you?" "None of them, but I believe that some of these people have been bribed by Zhao Rong Junju. How could Zhao Rong Junju miss such a good opportunity to change the people in my palace?" Chapter 1308. It doesn't matter who the spy is. I don't know who it is and I don't care. Chen Ning softly said, "Mo Chuan, let's not pursue this matter and pretend we don't know. I want to use his eyes and ears to spread the news we want to spread. If Zhao Rong didn't have a spy, I would be disappointed and worried. Now that it's like this, isn't it perfect?" She playfully winked at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan instantly came to his senses. He scratched the tip of her nose and said with a smile, "For Zhao Rong to meet a little fox like you, she really has bad luck." She put away her smile and said in a cold voice, "Let's say the ugly words first. It's fine if Xiao Ru is fine, but if something happens to Xiao Ru, don't blame me for being merciless. I understand. Zhao Rong did this kind of thing, so someone should teach her a fierce lesson. It's not convenient for me to make a move, so you can do whatever you want, there's no need to worry. As for Mother, if anything happens, I'll take care of it. You can just boldly do it." Chen Ning gave a snort, "Do you think I'm here to teach your cousin a lesson? Whether she's good or bad has nothing to do with me at all. I didn't want to provoke her, but she shouldn't have hurt the person I care about the most. If she hates me, she can come at me. If Xiao Ru falls into her hands, I'm afraid." She didn't dare think about it and forcefully bit her lips. Mo Chuan held her and gently patted her shoulder, saying in a soft voice, "Your worries will not happen. Zhui Feng has been hiding in the dark the entire time. If he sees Xiao Ru, he will immediately make a move and will not let Zhao Rong make a move against Xiao Ru. I have already given Zhui Feng a gold medal, allowing him to act first and report later. Like this, can you be assured? You gave Zhui Feng the gold medal for acting first and report later." Her eyes slightly opened wide. Her eyes were filled with deep gratitude and gratitude. "Thank you, Mo Chuan." Mo Chuan messed up her hair and said with a smile, "Silly girl, who am I to you? Do you need to thank me? I'm thanking you for Xiao Ru. I always thought you didn't like Xiao Ru and thought she was stupid. Mo Chuan, I've wronged you. She apologetically lowered her head. However, I have never disliked her because she is your most trusted person. If you like her, I will like her too. You should understand the principle of love me, love my dog. She is stupid, but she is the most loyal person to you in the world. That girl only has you in her heart. For you, she even dared to contradict me, the emperor. For a girl like her who is loyal to her master, I will save her no matter what and send her back to you safe and sound. Mo Chuan's promise made Chen Ning's eyes moisten again. She raised her eyelashes that were covered in tears. You're wrong. That girl doesn't only have me in her heart, she is still thinking about Xiao Si. Mo Chuan, I think it's not good for us to purposely separate them like this. If Xiao Ru comes back, don't send Xiao Si away and let them continue to be friends. Xiao Ru is very lonely in the palace, and with Xiao Si talking to her, she will be happier. I don't want to kill her happiness because of something uncertain in the future. Chapter 1309. It was because she could see Xiao Ru's feelings for Xiao Si that she and Mo Chuan avoided having the two of them meet. But was this really the right thing to do? What right did she have to take away Xiao Ru's happiness? What right did she have to control Xiao Ru's life for her? No one knew what Xiao Ru and Xiao Si's future would be like. Xiao Ru only liked Xiao Si, but that didn't mean she was devoted to Xiao Si and loved him to the bone. She did this because she thought it was good for Xiao Ru, but it made Xiao Ru unhappy. If something really happened to Xiao Ru this time, she would never forgive herself. You silly girl, you always like to worry about other people. You should worry about yourself first. Believe me, nothing will happen to Xiao Ru. When she comes back, I'll have Xiao Si talk to her every day to relieve her boredom, alright? Mo Chuan dotingly looked at her and helped her brush up a strand of hair. Now, I have to go back to the royal study. You just stay here and obediently fish. I hope you'll have a big harvest tonight. Chen Ning nodded and gave him a sweet smile. It was just as Chen Ning had expected. The Zhao Rong princess had indeed placed eyes and ears among the eunuchs and maids that had just been sent to the Guan Osprey Palace. When she found out that Mo Chuan was going to read the memorials alone in the royal study, she immediately went to find the red-clothed young master and told him this news. This is the best time for you to make a move. My cousin isn't in the Guan Osprey Palace and there's only that little fox spirit left. If you don't make a move now, when will you? The red-clothed young master's brows twitched and he said in a surprised voice, Princess, you've changed your mind. This young master remembered you saying that you already had a plan to humiliate her on the 5th day of the 5th month and make her lose all face. Could it be that you want her head now? A dark look flashed in the Zhao Rong princess' eyes and she hatefully said, This princess is not asking you to take her head, but to cut her face. That little fox spirit thinks that her beauty can confuse my cousin. After losing that face, my cousin won't even look at her again. Wait until the 5th day of the 5th month, when my cousin no longer supports her, this princess can humiliate her however she wants. Humph. The red-clothed young master couldn't help clicking his tongue. I really couldn't tell, but the princess's mind is even more vicious than this young master's. The most important thing for a girl is her appearance. If her face is ruined, it will be even more painful than killing her. His tone suddenly changed. However, Your Highness, your request is for her head, not for her face to be disfigured. This is not in line with our previous agreement. Please forgive me for being powerless. The princess forcefully stomped her foot. This young master, I can't help. You were the one who told me that after a cat catches a mouse, it can't bear to kill it immediately. Now, I want to make her blush and play with her properly. You're not even willing to help me with such a small matter. The red-clothed young master said indifferently, Princess, have you forgotten the rules of the Purple Cloud Pavilion? The Purple Cloud Pavilion only recognizes silver and only obeys orders. For something like helping, the princess has found the wrong person. This young master only knows how to kill, not help. Zhao Rongjunju was so angry that she couldn't speak. She glared at the man in red. However, when she thought of his sinister methods, no matter how angry she was, she didn't dare to explode at him. She could only grit her teeth and endure it. Chapter 13:10. The Zhao Rong princess had come in high spirits, but she had been given the cold shoulder. Her heart was filled with indescribable depression. After she angrily left, the red-clothed young master's eyes lit up and he muttered to himself. That silly girl wants this young master to do things for her, she's dreaming. However, this news of hers is hard to come by. Tonight is a dark and windy night. This young master will enter the palace and visit the Empress. I'll also send that Xiao Ru girl's head over. That's right, I'll put it next to her pillow so she can see it when she opens her eyes. Hey, I think her expression will be very interesting. His eyes revealed a playful glow that flashed before disappearing. Then he looked at the unconscious Xiao Ru on the ground and gave a disdainful snort. If it wasn't for her master, she would have already turned into a pool of blood. But she still had a use for him. This girl was more useful alive than dead. The red-clothed young master took advantage of the night to enter the palace again. The Zhao Rong princess had already given him a very detailed map of the entire palace, so last time he entered the palace, it was like there was no one around. He easily arrived at Guan Osprey Palace without alerting any of the palace guards. This time, he was even more familiar with the way to sneak into the imperial palace. He specifically picked the paths patrolled by the palace guards and silently approached Guan Osprey Palace. Before he even reached Guan Osprey Palace, he could already feel the hidden guards nearby. There were around 10 of them and he revealed a faint cold smile in his heart. With just these hidden guards, they shouldn't be able to stop him. He could silently take care of them. In the entire palace, there was only one person he was truly afraid of, and that was the emperor called Chu Mo Chuan. He was an expert among experts. As for the emperor's top hidden guard called Zhui Feng, he was around the same level as him in martial arts and his tracking techniques were very good, but compared to him, he was like a piece of wood, not a match at all. With just a bit of thought, he could play with Zhui Feng in the palm of his hand. Zhui Feng was also one of his targets. Last time, he could have made a move, but he didn't take Zhui Feng's life. It wasn't that he was being lenient, but if he let Zhui Feng die like this, wouldn't that be letting him off too easily? He wanted to torture these people on his list of enemies one by one. He wanted them to live like they were in hell, being filled with fear every second. Only this way would it be interesting. The red-clothed young master wore a black cloak that covered himself from head to toe as he silently snuck in next to a hidden guard. The secret guard did not notice his presence at all. Only when the red-robed young master was within his reach did he suddenly feel alerted. Just as he was about to make a move, he suddenly felt his Dazhui acupoint go numb. Someone had used a heavy technique to seal his acupoint. The red-clothed young master arrived like a cannon and suppressed all the hidden guards in Guan Osprey Palace. He hid in the shadows and calmly listened. He found that there were no traces of Chu Mo Chuan nearby and his lips curled into a cold smile. This useless emperor looked smart, but in reality, he was an idiot. He had too much faith in the abilities of his shadow guards. He didn't know that although these shadow guards' martial arts weren't weak, compared to the people from Purple Heaven Pavilion, their ability to ambush and assassinate was like a 3-year-old child, unable to withstand a single blow. Chapter 13:11. He was a smart and careful person. He waited until he was sure that there was no danger in the entire Guan Osprey Palace before he showed himself. He openly appeared in front of Qin Ning's bedroom door. The palace maids and eunuchs were all sleeping soundly in their rooms. This time, the main target was in the room. He had no interest in these ants at all. Killing these people would only stain his hands. The time he chose was the darkest before dawn, and it was also the time he liked to make his move. With a gentle push, the door opened. There was a candle in the room and it gave off a dim light in front of the bed. He could faintly see a slender figure sleeping soundly in the bed curtains. He recognized it with a single glance. That familiar figure was his target for tonight. This was not the first time he had seen her. In these past few days, he had thought of her every day. He thought of her every frown, every smile, every move, every little movement, even the sly look in her eyes when she spoke. He clearly remembered it all. Damn! Why couldn't he see through it at the time? The red-clothed young master walked step by step to the bed. The curtains were gently drawn and she was sleeping in them. That face that had appeared in his dreams countless times was calm and serene in the flickering candlelight. Not only was she sleeping soundly, her sleeping appearance was also very beautiful. The corners of his lips slightly curled up as he couldn't help smiling. Yes, he would think of her every day. Every time he thought of her, he wanted to skin her alive to vent his anger. Now he really saw her. She was right in front of him and he could touch her. She was like a fish on the chopping block, waiting to be slaughtered. On the contrary, he became calm, and his furious heartbeat became very calm. His eyes flashed with a playful light, like a hunter who saw prey that had fallen into a trap and was thinking about how to kill the prey in order to obtain greater pleasure. Chen Ning. His thin lips slightly opened and he spat out 2 words. It was like a wisp of smoke that floated in the air. Her name was also very pleasant to hear. When he said it with his low and hoarse voice, it had a special charm to it. It was a pity that she was sleeping soundly and did not hear it at all. The red-clothed young master gave a regretful sigh in his heart. He admired her sleeping face under the candlelight like he was admiring a painting carefully drawn by a master. The heavens really treated this girl well, giving her this kind of flawless appearance. Even he felt jealous looking at it. Such a beautiful face, if it was ruined by his hands, wouldn't it be a pity? He did not agree to Zhao Rong Princess' request because he did not want to ruin the work of the heavens. He had many methods to torture a person, but he did not like a stupid method like disfiguring someone's face. Although he was sure that the person in front of him was asleep, the red-robed young master was still very careful. He remembered very clearly that he did not even know how he had fallen into this girl's trap the last time. She clearly didn't know any martial arts, but all of a sudden, she shot out countless steel needles, catching him off guard. He couldn't dodge and was stabbed like a hedgehog. He didn't know what kind of medicine the needle was, but as soon as it entered his bloodstream, he felt like he was being bitten by thousands of ants. The pain was unbearable, and he instantly lost all his strength. Therefore, he absolutely did not dare to let his guard down this time. Chapter 13:12. Chen Ning. The red-clothed young master slightly raised his voice and blew into her ear. As expected, her eyelashes flickered and she slowly opened her eyes. He had a playful smile on his face. He was prepared to see her shocked expression and her panicked appearance. Suddenly, he saw a flash of silver light in front of him. Countless shining steel needles rained down from the sky. That familiar scene once again appeared in front of him. He heard a chi, chi, chi sound as the red-clothed young master's black cloak was pierced by dozens of silver needles. The ends of the needles were shining like stars in the dark night. Chen Ning, Chen Ning. You're using the same trick again. Do you think this young master will fall for it again? The red-clothed young master's expression was normal. He reached out his hand and threw the cloak covered in silver needles onto the ground. His right hand quickly reached out and grabbed Chen Ning's slender neck. As long as he moved a little bit, her neck would be broken with a gotcha sound. At this time, Chen Ning's lips curled up. She winked at him and revealed a mysterious smile. The red-clothed young master was stunned. He suddenly felt that something was wrong, but before he could react. With a loud, honked sound, it was like a bolt of lightning in the clear sky. He was hit in the butt by an unknown force. Then his body was like a ball as he smashed through the door and window. He was sent flying out of the room and landed heavily in the yard. The red-clothed young master fell to the ground and did not get up for a long time. His ears were still ringing and his mind was still in a daze. He did not know what had happened at all. What just happened? Was the heavens angry? There was an explosion in the room and he was blasted out. Was the heavens helping her? This was impossible. He felt a burning sensation on his butt. When he touched it with his hand, it was sticky and sticky with blood. It was even more unbelievable. He was injured. What kind of joke was this? Hey, are you here to kill me? Do you like the little gift I gave you? Suddenly, a clear and melodious voice rang out. The red-clothed young master looked up in a daze. He followed the voice and saw Chen Ning's face appear in front of the broken window. She was smiling at him with something in her hand that was aimed at him. The shape of the thing was very strange. He had never seen it before. It looked like a child's toy. Don't move. If you move again, I'll shoot again. Chen Ning waved the simple pistol in her hand. Seeing the red-clothed young master's sorry appearance, her heart was filled with pride. This pistol was modified based on the current pistol. She had drawn the blueprints and given them to Gu Qingze to make the first finished product. The entire body of the spear was pieced together from pieces of wood. The power of this gun was like a child's toy compared to modern pistols. Its range and penetrative power were not worth mentioning. Especially the bullets. Chen Ning could not make the powerful bullets of the modern era and she did not want to make them, so she modified the bullets of this gun. She changed the penetrating power to explosive power and added sulfur and saltpeter. The main ingredients were similar to the thunderbolt eggs she made. Chapter 13:13. Bullet. What bullet? The red-clothed young master shook his head. He still had not recovered from his daze and had never heard of Chen Ning's new term before. He only knew that he was injured. His butt had been hit by this little girl who did not know martial arts. Although his injury was not heavy, he was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. What he hated the most in his life was being hit on the butt. Slapping his butt was like slapping his face, which made him hate it very much. Stinky girl, you dare hurt me. If I let you die, then I wouldn't be the thousand-faced young master that everyone in Jianghu would fear. He cursed through gritted teeth. Thousand-faced young master. Chen Ning looked at his face that was even more charming than a woman's under the moonlight. She was stunned for a bit before she let out a disdainful laugh. What kind of bullshit nickname is this? It's simply too ugly. A man like you actually wears a woman's face, aren't you ashamed? I only hit your butt once and you're already talking so much nonsense. Do you really think you're a woman? No, even a woman isn't as verbose as you. Comparing you to a woman is simply an insult to women. You're not even as good as a woman. Her poisonous tongue was like a machine gun. She didn't even need to take a breather, it was just like a barrage of cannons. Hearing this, the red-clothed young master was stunned. Sweat poured down like rain and he wished he could dig a hole to bury himself in. Ever since he was born, this was the first time someone had scolded him like this. He had been scolded in such a manner that he was not even as good as a woman. You. After a while, he pointed at Chen Ning and took a deep breath, preparing to retort. But Chen Ning did not give him a chance to speak. What you, You are a stutterer. If you stutter, then shut your mouth and speak less. You don't think it's embarrassing, but your ancestors think it's embarrassing. The red-clothed young master's face went from green to red. It was as if he had opened a dye shop. His chest was heaving up and down. His stomach was filled with anger and he was about to explode. You fucking shut up for father. He suddenly let out a loud roar. You want me to shut up and I'll shut up? Who do you think you are? Red-clothed sissy, you're the little white-eyed wolf that pretended to be a child, right? TSK, TSK, TSK. Look at how useless you are. You look so feminine. You look more adorable when you pretend to be a child. Oh right, you said you were called Thousand-Faced Young Master. Since you dare call yourself that, your disguise technique must be not bad. Please, look in the mirror before you go out next time. You're a man, why did you have to disguise yourself as a woman? If you're not a sissy, who's a sissy? Not only are you a sissy, you're a pervert. How disgusting. To meet a pervert in the middle of the night, it's like walking in the dark and bumping into a ghost. Chen Ning said this while rolling her eyes at him in disdain. The red-clothed young master went crazy. Although he didn't understand the meaning of sissy, he knew it wasn't a good term even if he used his heels to think. You. If you say another word, I'll kill you. Father will definitely kill you. His eyes turned red as he viciously stared at Chen Ning, almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. Chapter 13-14. He looked like a wild beast that had been provoked to the extreme, ready to attack at any time. With his martial arts and the distance between him and Chen Ning, he could turn the other side into mincemeat with lightning speed. But Chen Ning did not have a single trace of fear on her face. Rather she looked at him like she was looking at a clown. You want to kill me? Come, if you don't kill me, then you're just a cowardly mouse, a sissy that can't even compare to a woman. She deliberately said in a provocative voice. Before the word sissy fell, the red-clothed young master's body suddenly jumped up from the ground. Like a red light, he charged at her. Chen Ning raised the wooden spear in her hand and aimed it at the red-clothed young master's forehead. When he was less than a meter away, her fingers suddenly pulled the trigger. Hong! Another thunderous sound rang out. The thunderbolt bullet accurately hit the center of the red-robed young master's eyebrows and immediately exploded. The red-clothed young master's body was sent flying like a broken kite by the large impact. He fell to the ground and could not get up for a while, just like a fish that had been thrown onto the shore. My mask! My mask! He let out a mournful cry. He used his hand to touch the mask on his face, but he could only feel pieces of skin on his hand. The most satisfying and beautiful piece of work that he had made had already been turned to ashes by Chen Ning's spear, leaving behind only pieces of skin on his face. The good thing was that his face was still intact under the mask, but his face was burnt black and it was hard to distinguish his facial features. It was like he had come out of a pile of coal. Not bad, not bad. My master's products are powerful and his craftsmanship is first class. Chen Ning looked at the wooden spear in her hand and praised it. This was much more convenient than any hidden weapons and the power was incomparable. The modern generation's wisdom was truly powerful. Of course the weakness was obvious. The sound of the bullet exploding was too loud, just like thunder. She fired 2 thunderbolt bullets in a row and the entire palace was alarmed. Even Empress Dowager Zhou in the Peaceful Life Palace was awakened by this sound. She opened her misty eyes and called out to Su Jin. Su Jin, is there thunder? Is there going to be a heavy rain? It's not thunder. The sound seems to be coming from the direction of the Guanyu Palace. Su Jin opened the window and looked out. She saw flames moving in the direction of the Guanyu Palace. It was the guards patrolling the palace. They heard the commotion and came over with torches to see what was going on. Guanyu Palace. Empress Dowager Zhou immediately became nervous. Quickly, send someone to see if the emperor is all right. Yes, Empress Dowager. Su Ji knew that the person Empress Dowager Zhou cared about the most was Mo Chuan, so she volunteered, "This servant will go take a look." The Empress Dowager is waiting here for this servant's news. Empress of Zhou nodded and said, "Be careful." Su Jin left Peaceful Life Palace with several guards and headed for Guan Osprey Palace. The sound of the gunshot was so loud that all the people in Guan Osprey Palace were woken up from their dreams. However, they had received strict orders that no matter what happened, they were not allowed to take half a step out of their rooms. No one and one of them, they and Emperor, they would. They would and they and would and they and Ning would they. Chen and one. Was that the sound came from Guan Osprey Palace. Chapter 13-15. The guards of the palace gathered from all directions. They gathered outside the Guan Osprey Palace with torches in their hands as they discussed what was happening. But without Mo Chuan's orders, no one dared to barge in. In the courtyard, the red-clothed young master who had been blasted into cinders was lying on the ground like a pile of mud. He had been hit by 2 thunderbolt bullets, but he was not heavily injured. The shock in his heart was much more serious than his body. Chen Ning raised her gun again and aimed at him. The red-clothed young master felt a chill run down his back and his heart tightened. Now he did not dare look down on the strange thing in Chen Ning's hand. What kind of powerful hidden weapon was this? He had never seen or heard of it before. Even with his speed, he couldn't dodge it. Those 2 thunderous sounds had already destroyed 2 of his 3 souls. Now that he saw Chen Ning aim that strange thing at him again, he couldn't help shouting, Don't hit my face." The mask on his face had been blasted into pieces. If she hit him again, his face would be completely ruined. "Sissy, I'll ask one question and you'll answer one. If there's even half a sentence that isn't true, I'll blast you into a watermelon." Chen Ning raised her gun and spoke in a powerful voice. The red-clothed young master thought to himself, this retribution really came quickly. He had just said the same thing to Xiao Ru and now it was his turn. But he did not dare not answer. "Ask," he said through gritted teeth. "The people in my palace, were you the one who killed them?" Chen Ning stared at him with bright eyes. His face was completely black and his bright red robe was filled with holes from the thunderbolt bullets. He looked just like a beggar. But she knew that this person who looked even worse than a beggar was very strong and had a ruthless heart. If she was the slightest bit careless, she would be bitten by him. "Yes." The red-clothed young master calmly admitted, "They were all killed by me. They were just ants. You wouldn't take revenge for these ants, right? My maid, Xiao Ru, were you the one who kidnapped her?" Chen Ning stared at him. Yes. He suddenly noticed that Chen Ning's eyes turned cold. Her fingers slightly moved and he immediately shouted, "But I didn't touch her. She didn't even lose a single hair. I just wanted to scare you, not a single hair lost." "Then what is this?" Chen Ning picked up the hair he had placed on her pillow and asked. This. The red-clothed young master's back was covered in sweat. He wanted to vomit blood from regret. Why did he cut off that stupid girl's hair? I. He rolled his eyes and suddenly said, "If you let me go, I'll let her go. I promise I'll do what I say. If you kill me, then your beloved little girl won't be able to live." His lips curled into a sinister smile as he glared at Chen Ning. He was really intimidated by the girl in front of him. So what if she had an incomparably powerful concealed weapon? He was holding the thing that she cared about the most in his hand. As long as he did not tell her Shao of Shao, he would not did would be. Just like that, the red-robed young master was immediately filled with courage. He even stood up without fear and straightened his back. I'll say it again. Throw that thing in your hand over and this young master will not touch your maid. Otherwise, before he could finish. Hong. Chapter 13-16. The already tattered red-clothed young master was hit in the chest by another thunderbolt bullet. The gunpowder exploded and sent him tumbling a few times. He flew over the high courtyard wall and with a "pa" sound, he landed like a dead fish in front of the guards holding torches. What is this thing? It looks like a person. It's most likely an assassin. Capture him. The guards immediately swarmed forward and quickly tied up the red-robed young master. The red-clothed young master was dizzy from the explosions. Only when he found out that he had been tied up like a dumpling did he come back to his senses. His eyes went wide. He couldn't believe that he had actually been captured. He had actually fallen into the hands of a group of guards that were dumber than pigs. This was a great humiliation. This was simply a great humiliation. His eyes rolled back, and he actually fainted from anger. The guards didn't care if he really fainted or not. In any case, this fellow was as black as a charcoal and didn't look like a good person at first glance. He had also flown out of the Empress palace, so if he wasn't an assassin, then what was he? Although they couldn't understand how the three thunderous sounds had come from Guan Osprey Palace, if they caught the assassin, then it would be a great merit. At this time, Su Jin rushed over with several guards. When she saw the red-clothed young master being tied up like a dumpling by the guards, she was shocked. What happened? Who is this fellow? All of the guards recognized Su Jin, so one of them immediately replied respectfully, reporting to Auntie Su Jin, this fellow flew out of Guan Osprey Palace. We could tell he wasn't a good person at first glance and was definitely an assassin who had broken into the palace, so we immediately took him down. However, before we could interrogate him, he fainted. Then what were those three loud noises just now? Where are the Emperor and the Empress? Su Jin looked at the red-clothed young master. She didn't pay much attention to this fellow who was darker than a charcoal and worse off than a beggar. What she cared about the most was Mo Chuan and Qin Ning's safety. The guards looked at each other in blank dismay and then lowered their heads. We didn't have the Emperor's orders, so we didn't dare break into Guan Osprey Palace. We don't know the situation of the Emperor and the Empress. Su Jin couldn't help stomping her feet and secretly cursing, what a bunch of idiots. I'll go in and take a look. She went forward and knocked on the door. Who would have thought that with a gentle push, the palace doors would open from the inside? Su Jin was shocked. When she looked over, she saw Qin Ning standing in front of the door, looking at her with a calm expression. She was instantly pleasantly surprised. Empress, are you all right? I'm fine. Thank you, Aunt Su Jin, for your concern. Did you catch the assassin? Qin Ning had already put away her wooden spear. Her hands were empty as she stood there with a calm expression. Su Chen for Qin. Su Jin replied. She couldn't help looking over Qin Ning again. She was still a bit worried as she asked, Empress, what happened just now? Is the Emperor? Is he fine? His Majesty is fine. Aunt Su Jin, did the Empress Dowager send you? Was it because the noise just now was too loud and alerted the Empress Dowager? It's all my fault for making too much noise while catching the assassin. It won't happen again. Go and report to the Empress Dowager that His Majesty is fine and the assassin has been caught. Chen said. Hearing this, Su Jin and the guards behind her almost dropped their jaws. Chapter 13-17. Qin Ning gave a faint smile and nodded, but she didn't say anything. This wooden spear was her secret weapon, so naturally the fewer people that knew about it, the better. Otherwise, the next time she used it, the enemy would be on guard and it wouldn't be as effective. Aunt Sue-Jean, there's nothing else here. The sun is about to rise, so you should quickly report to the Empress Dowager and let her rest early. Although Sue-Jean still had a stomach full of questions, from Chen Ning's words, it was clear that she didn't want her to ask too much. So she nodded and left with the guards. Chen Ning finally looked away when she couldn't see her figure anymore. Her gaze fell onto the unconscious red-clothed young master and she said, "I'm going to interrogate this assassin's background. You can all leave." "Yes, Empress." The guards saluted her in unison and then retreated. In the blink of an eye, only Chen Ning and the tied-up red-clothed young master were left in front of the previously crowded Guan Osprey Palace. Chen Ning slowly walked in front of the red-clothed young master and stared at his face that she couldn't see clearly. The red-clothed young master's eyes were closed and he didn't move at all. "If you keep pretending to be dead, do you believe that I won't give you another thunderbolt?" Chen Ning suddenly gave a cold laugh. As soon as she said this, the red-clothed young master suddenly opened his eyes and cried out, "Don't." Before he could close his mouth, he suddenly felt something in his mouth. It was smooth and slippery, and he swallowed it down his throat. This. What is this?" He looked at Chen Ning in shock and smacked his lips. He found that the thing he ate had an indescribable fishy smell and his heart turned cold. "This thing is called the bone-transforming pill. I used the venom of 7 different kinds of poisonous snakes, the venom of 7 different kinds of poisonous insects, and the pollen of 7 different kinds of poisonous flowers to make it. It's very precious and there's only one in this world. I specially prepared it for you. How is it? Does it taste good?" Chen Ning threw the empty bottle in her hand onto the ground and smiled at him. Bone-transforming pill. When the red-clothed young master heard this name, he felt a chill run down his spine. His eyes were filled with fear. He wasn't afraid of death, but he was afraid of falling into the enemy's hands. The enemy would use all sorts of methods to torture him until he didn't look like a human or a ghost. He wouldn't be able to beg for death. That would be the most terrifying thing. Ugh! He opened his eyes wide and began to circulate his qi. He searched his stomach, trying to find that he wanted to vomit. Who would have thought that after circulating his qi for a long time, he would discover that his dantian was empty from beginning to end. The originally vigorous and abundant true qi had actually disappeared without a trace. His great shock brought with it an indescribable sense of panic. How could it be like this? You want to vomit. I advise you not to waste your energy. This bone-melting pill melts the moment it enters your mouth and takes effect very quickly. Right now, its medicinal effect has already entered your limbs and bones. Do you feel that your internal energy has disappeared? Chen Ning looked down at him from above and her lips curled into a faint smile. The sweeter her smiled, the more the red than her smile. The scene of her stripping him of his clothes and hanging him on the city gate replayed in his mind like a nightmare. During this period of time, she had become his nightmare. Chapter 13:18. What kind of method would she use to torture him this time? The red-clothed young master thought he was just thinking about it, but his mouth could not help but ask. How do you want to torture me? His voice trembled. Without internal energy, he would become a cripple. A top assassin from the Purple Heaven Pavilion like him was naturally courageous. Death was nothing to him. What he was afraid of was not death, but the endless tricks this girl had. If he was stripped naked and hung on the city gate again, he would rather die immediately. Chen Ning's cold eyes fell onto his face. She could see the fear in his eyes. This guy was afraid, and the one he was afraid of was not others, but herself. It seemed that the method of stripping him last time had given him a huge psychological shadow. What were men afraid of? They were not afraid of death. What they were most afraid of was losing face. Sometimes, they would rather die than lose their face. They did not know that face was the most useless thing in the world, but men still desperately wanted to keep their face. Very good, since he was afraid of losing face, then she would make him lose face again. I have not finished my question. Let me ask you again. Are you from the Purple Heaven Pavilion? How do you know? The red-clothed young master's eyes were filled with surprise as he blurted out. It had to be known that the Purple Heaven Pavilion was very secretive in the martial world. They came and went without a trace. Although they made people tremble in fear, the number of people who could see them alive was very few, not to mention being recognized in front of their faces. Chen Ning could be said to be the only person alive who had ever mentioned the Purple Heaven Pavilion in front of him. I know a lot more than you do. Answer my questions honestly. That's right, I am from the Purple Heaven Pavilion. Since you know the name of the Purple Heaven Pavilion and still dare to offend me, do you know the consequences? The red-clothed young master quickly calmed down. He raised his chin and his tone became tough. When the people of the martial world mentioned the Purple Heaven Pavilion, who would not be scared to death? Being entangled by the people of the Purple Heaven Pavilion was the beginning of a lifetime of nightmare. Hee. Chen Ning looked at him and disdainfully curled her lips. Look at your arrogant and careless appearance. You think being a member of the Purple Heaven Pavilion is a glorious thing. Don't you know that the people of the Purple Heaven Pavilion are like street rats that everyone wants to kill? You are not ashamed, but proud of it. Do you know how to write the word shame? You. The red-robed young master was once again angered to the point of speechlessness. He glared at her, looking like he wanted to swallow her whole. Anyone who dared to insult the Purple Heaven Pavilion in this world had to die. You're already a stutterer, so don't be so arrogant. If the wind cuts your tongue again, you'll stutter even more. Chen Ning gave a cold laugh. After he heard this, the red-clothed young master almost fainted. It took him a while to recover. Chen Ning. Of. This young master is not a stutterer. He finally roared out with a red face and neck. If you're not stuttering, then you're not stuttering. Do you have to be so loud? So noisy, shut up. Chen Ning impatiently took out her wooden spear and pointed it at his mouth. Of. Alright, let's see if your roar is louder, or if my thunderbolt bomb is louder. When the red-robed young master saw the spear, his expression changed. Chapter 13:19. Whatever I ask, you will answer. If you say one more word of nonsense, I will let you taste the taste of a thunderbolt. Do you understand? Nod your head if you understand. Chen Ning stared at him. She remembered that it was this guy in front of her that killed so many innocent people in her palace. Her heart couldn't help but burn with anger. She really wanted to shoot him in the head. It was a pity that the gun wasn't loaded with real bullets. Also, he was an expert in the Purple Cloud Pavilion. He definitely knew a lot of the Purple Cloud Pavilion secrets. If she wanted to eradicate the Purple Cloud Pavilion that caused trouble in the martial world, she had to keep him alive and get information from his mouth. The red-clothed young master closed his mouth and nodded his head, indicating that he understood. He couldn't understand more. Very good, you are very smart. I hope you can continue to be smart. Now let me ask you, who wants to buy my life? Chen Ning asked. Although she and Imo Chuan had already guessed that the person who wanted to harm her was the Zhao Rong princess, there were still some mysteries that she couldn't solve. And this mystery, the person in front of her could definitely help her solve it. The red-clothed young master's lips moved, but he didn't say a single word. He definitely couldn't reveal the guest's information. This was the first rule of the Purple Cloud Pavilion. Anyone who violated this rule would die without a complete corpse. Although he was the young master of the Purple Cloud Pavilion, he definitely didn't dare violate the rules. You won't say. Fine, I won't use the thunderbolt to deal with you. The method of hanging people at the city gate last time was quite interesting. Why don't we do it again? But this time, it won't be a small city like last time. I will hang you at the east gate of the capital and write the words Purple Cloud Pavilion Thousand-Faced Young Master on your chest. Everyone who enters and exits the city gate will look up to you, Thousand-Faced Young Master. Thousand-Faced Young Master, you will soon be famous. Do you like it? Chen Ning wasn't angry. Instead, she smiled and put away her wooden spear. Like your ancestors. The red-clothed young master cursed in his stomach, but his body couldn't help but tremble. Once he thought of the scene of being surrounded by a large group of people without any clothes, he wanted to dig a hole in the ground. At least the last time he was hung in front of the city gate, he looked like a 7- or 8-year-old child, so no one knew who he was. But this time was obviously different. If she really did write his identity on his chest and this news spread to the Purple Cloud Pavilion, then he really wouldn't have the face to live. Even if he died, he wouldn't have the face to see his ancestors. I'll talk. He didn't dare to be stubborn anymore. He took a deep breath and steeled his heart. It's Xiao Rong Junju. It really was Xiao Rong Princess. Although she knew the answer, Chen Ning did not feel happy at all. Rather she knit her brows. Only Xiao Rong Junju, no one else? She asked again. Of course not. The rule of our Purple Cloud Pavilion is that if we receive money from others, we will eliminate disasters for them. As long as we accept a business deal, we will definitely not accept it if there is another customer who wants to do the same business and kill the same person. Bah, what kind of *T rules are these? It's just a dirty killing business. Do you think it's worth bragging about? Looks like you're not only a sissy, but also a psychopath. Your values are also horribly twisted. Chapter 1320. This kind of person who treated people's lives like grass and killed people for fun, not feeling shame, but feeling proud of himself, he simply deserved to die. Yesterday's Guanyu Palace filled with blood and corpses appeared in her mind. Everyone's lives had been taken by this killer in front of her. He had done this kind of crazy thing and still dared to shamelessly boast about it. She couldn't help feeling hatred in her heart. She raised her hand and slapped him across the face several times. Miss, you hit me well. To be slapped by such a beautiful girl a few times is my good fortune. The red-clothed young master endured the pain. His face was filled with a smile as he spoke in a flattering manner. Although he hated being slapped in the face the most, compared to being stripped naked and hung on the city gate, being slapped a few times by her slender, jade-like hands was really nothing. Furthermore, it was only the two of them right now, and there was no one else to see his embarrassing state. Good fortune. Very good, then I'll slap you until your ancestors' graves smoke. Chen Ning gave a cold laugh. Thinking about how Xiao Ru had fallen into his hands, she didn't know what kind of torture she had suffered, so she did not hold back at all. After 7-8 slaps, the red-clothed young master's face was already swollen like a pig's head. Although she didn't have any internal energy, the red-clothed young master also didn't have any internal energy, so he couldn't circulate it. These slaps had split open his flesh and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, but he still had a smile on his face. Good hit. He was in so much pain that he sucked in air through his teeth. It was just a few slaps, he could endure it. It was better than all the other kinds of torture she could give him. You really won't give up until you reach the Yellow River. You're really stubborn. Since you think I hit you well, then I'll hit you to my heart's content. Chen Ning felt that her hand was hurting, so she took off her shoes and used the soles of her shoes to hit his face. The red-clothed young master finally closed his mouth and no longer said that he hit her well. His entire face was burning hot like it was on fire. Half of it was from the slap, and the other half was from embarrassment. Where's Xiaoru? What did you do to her? Chen Ning was tired, so she stopped to take a breath. The red-clothed young master's teeth were knocked loose and his lips were swollen like sausages, but he did not dare not answer. Xiaoru. Miss Xiaoru is fine. I did not touch her at all. Zhao Rong wanted to kill her. It was this young master who saved her. He wanted to curry favor with Chen Ning, but when Chen Ning heard this, she became even angrier. She raised her shoe and slammed it down again. You saved her. How dare you say that? Where did you take her? Was it Duke Ning's mansion? You put her in a quagmire and a tiger's den, and you still have the nerve to come here to claim credit. Are you stupid? Idiot, sissy, pervert. The red-clothed young master was beaten silly. He endured the pain and followed Chen Ning's words, yes, yes, yes. I'm an idiot, I'm a sissy, I'm a pervert. Miss, you hit me right, you hit me right. I shouldn't have offended Miss Xiaoru. All he wanted was not to be stripped naked and hung on the city gate. As for everything else, he didn't care. Miss, if you want to hit, can you hit somewhere else? As long as you don't hit my face again. He said with a long face. Chapter 13:21. The more Chen Ning spoke, the angrier she became. Her attacks became heavier and heavier. The red-clothed young master's heart was filled with complaints, but he did not dare say a single word. He gritted his teeth and endured it, but his heart was filled with complaints. It was just killing a few ants, it wasn't a big deal. But for the sake of those ant-like people, he had eaten so much of the soles of his shoes. His cheeks were swollen, and his pair of long and narrow phoenix eyes had become slits. Chen Ning was finally tired and stopped. She put on her shoes and angrily took a few steps forward. I have to think about how to deal with you. If I just kill you like this, it would be letting you off easy, humph. The red-clothed young master's swollen eyes couldn't help following her. Every time she walked a few steps away, his heart would relax a bit. Every time she came closer, his heart would jump up again. His heart was like a marionette, being pulled by her every move. Chen Ning suddenly stopped in front of him. The red-clothed young master's heart couldn't help beating faster and his breathing became rapid. His eyes stared right at her without blinking. His heart had already jumped into his throat. This was because he found that the most ruthless people in this world were not men, but rather women. This was because if a woman was ruthless, they would be even more ruthless than a man. I've thought of it, let's do it. Her eyes looked over his face that had been beaten beyond recognition and the corners of her lips slightly curled up. What? What do we do? Miss, how do you plan on dealing with this one? The red-clothed young master swallowed a mouthful of saliva and asked in a fearful voice. Why should I tell you? Who do you think you are that I have to answer just because you ask? Shut your mouth for me. She glared at him and he immediately obediently closed his mouth, but his eyes still followed her. I don't know how Xiaoru is right now. If something happens to her, just you wait. Chen Ning looked up at the sky. The sky was already turning white, but there was still no news of Xiaoru. Her heart couldn't help worrying. The red-clothed young master bitterly smiled in his heart, but he did not dare say anything. He did not know how much regret he was feeling right now. He really should not have kidnapped that stupid girl. Not only did he not get a single word out of that girl's mouth, he had also eaten a lot of shoe soles. This was simply a huge loss. The only thing he was glad about was that he didn't give Xiao Ru to the Zhao Rong princess. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been tortured by this girl called Chen Ning in front of him. This girl was simply the most ruthless, most difficult woman he had ever seen in his life. This girl was simply the most ruthless, difficult woman he had ever seen in his life. He was regretting more and more that he should not have underestimated this opponent. Although she was a woman, although she did not know martial arts, he was clearly stronger than her by 108,000 li. But he did not know why. Every time he would somehow fall into her trap, fall into her hands and be at her mercy. If this were to spread to the Purple Heaven Pavilion, where would he, the thousand-faced young master's face be? The red-clothed young master's expression was he. The red-clothed young master looked he said. When the red-clothed young master's fingers touched her belt again, she fainted from fright. She did not know how long she had been unconscious or how much time had passed. She did not want to wake up, she would rather stay unconscious like this. That way, she would not have to face that embarrassing scene. Chapter 13:22. Xiao Ru was still cursing the red-clothed young master in her unconscious state. She gritted her teeth and tightly clenched her fists. If he really stripped her naked and hung her in front of the city gates, she would kill herself. After she died, she would turn into an evil spirit and come find this red-clothed demon for his life. While she was unconscious, she could vaguely hear someone calling her name. Xiao Ru. Miss Xiao Ru, wake up. It was very similar to the red-clothed demon's voice. Bastard. Damn. He did such a disgusting thing to her and he still had the face to call her name. Xiao Ru had not even completely opened her eyes when she forcefully punched the blurry face in front of her. It hit the bridge of the nose. Demon, white-eyed wolf, I'll stake it all with you. I'll beat you to death. Crying and screaming, she rushed up and slapped his face several times in a row. After slapping it, she was stunned. Her raised hand stopped in midair as she stared at the man in front of her in a daze, looking like she had seen a ghost. Shui Feng, why is it you? You. Why are you here? I thought it was that red-clothed demon, so. She stuttered as she spoke with an embarrassed expression on her face. Shui Feng's nose had been punched and 2 streams of blood flowed down. His cheeks were both red and purple, filled with her finger marks. Although she did not know martial arts, she had used a lot of strength in her anger. Shui Feng was caught off guard and adding in the fact that he never thought Xiao Ru would make a move against him, he was completely stunned. It wasn't until now that he came back to his senses. Miss Xiao Ru, you. Why did you hit me? He was filled with anger and shock. He had come to save her with good intentions, but he never thought that he would receive a beating from her. I hit the wrong person, I thought you were that bad person. Shui Feng, does your face hurt? Xiao Ru's face turned red to her ears and her heart was filled with regret. She had already forgotten about her hatred towards Shui Feng. When she saw Shui Feng, her heart was filled with joy like a wave. This feeling of being able to escape from death's door was simply too blissful. Shui Feng rubbed his cheeks. He had been slapped several times, how could it not hurt? But a man's natural dignity did not allow him to admit it. Even if it hurt, he could not say it. Miss Xiao Ru, are you hurt? Can you walk? He asked. Xiao Ru looked at his face and suddenly began to cry. You came to save me, but I hit your face like this. It's all my fault, I can't do anything right. I'm so stupid, woo. I don't have the face to see the young miss. Woo. Shui Feng did not know what to do from her crying, not knowing what to do. He did not know what to do. Did he not say a single word? He did not know what he meant. Xiao Ru cried until her nose was running. She grabbed a piece of cloth and wiped her tears before forcefully blowing her nose. Zhui Feng's face suddenly turned green. He stared at the cloth covered with snot and tears, and the tears in his heart almost flowed out. She actually used his clothes to wipe her snot. He resisted the urge to go berserk and said dryly, "Don't cry. We have to leave this place quickly. If you cry again, people will find out that we can't leave." This sentence was very effective. When Xiao Ru heard this, she immediately stopped crying. Chapter 13:23. Zhui Feng nodded and then said, "The Emperor also came." "What?" "The Emperor personally came to save me." Xiao Ru's eyes popped out in shock. Then her little face turned red from excitement and her eyes lit up. "The Emperor is really good, he is too good to me. I'm so touched." Zhui Feng saw this and his heart suddenly filled with an uncomfortable feeling. The Emperor was only keeping a lookout for him outside. The one who took the risk to come in and save him was him, but this last didn't even say a word of thanks to him. Instead, she mistook him for someone else and gave him a beating. He had no one to complain about this grievance. "Since you're not injured, let's quickly return to the palace. The Empress is very worried about you." Zhui Feng suddenly said, "Miss Xiao Ru, this one has been rude." "Rude? What rude?" Xiao Ru had a stunned expression. Zhui Feng no longer said anything. He reached out with a finger and hit her mute acupuncture point. Then he grabbed a sheet from the side and wrapped it around her. He carried her on his shoulder like a sack, and under the cover of the night, he left the Duke Ning Palace without anyone noticing. Mo Chuan had changed into a set of black clothes and was standing guard outside the courtyard, looking in the direction of the palace. He had already heard 3 thunderous sounds coming from that direction. He thought that with such a large movement, it couldn't have been caused by Xiao Ning, right? Saving Xiao Ru didn't require him to personally make a move, but he knew that Xiao Ru was the person Qin Ning cared about the most. If something happened to Xiao Ru, she would be very sad, so he came with Zhui Feng. If the Purple Heaven Pavilion assassin did not go to the palace like Qin Ning expected and stayed in the Duke Ning Palace, then he and Zhui Feng would not let the assassin escape. At this time, he saw Zhui Feng carrying a person over the wall and asked, "Did you succeed?" Zhui Feng nodded. "This one will return to the palace first, you can follow." After Mo Chuan said this, he moved and flew towards the palace. His figure quickly disappeared into the night, his movement technique was simply unbelievable fast. Zhui Feng had always been proud of his qigong, but seeing Mo Chuan's qigong, he couldn't help secretly admiring it. He carried Xiao Ru and took a deep breath. He sped up and followed Mo Chuan. When Mo Chuan arrived at the Guanyu Palace, he found that the entire palace was silent. There was no movement at all, as if nothing had happened. He couldn't help feeling surprised. He had clearly heard the sound coming from the palace. Could it be that the Purple Heaven Pavilion assassin did not appear? Or did something happen to her? He jumped directly from the roof into the courtyard and pushed open the door to the bedchamber. "Ning er." He called out. The room was empty. No one answered and Qin Ning's figure was nowhere to be seen. Mo Chuan's heart immediately jumped. He quickly looked around the room and searched every corner, but he couldn't find Qin Ning. Not Qin Ning's figure, there was not even one. Mo there. Ning. Not only was there no trace of Qin Ning, there was not even a single palace maid or eunuch. Mo Chuan suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. Feng. The scene of yesterday's courtyard filled with corpses suddenly appeared in his mind. It was like he had seen that scene again. That Purple Heaven Pavilion assassin, who was ruthless and numb to killing, charged into Guan Osprey Palace as if there was no one there and began a massacre without the slightest scruple. Chapter 1324. Mo Chuan gave a cold shiver and did not dare think about it any longer. He suddenly felt very, very regretful. Why did he agree to her request? Why did he evacuate half of the hidden guards? Why didn't he stay by her side? If she... Mo Chuan. When he was filled with pain, regret, shock, and fear, he heard a voice that was even more beautiful than the most beautiful music in the world. That was her voice. She was still alive. Then he saw her. The first rays of the morning sun rose and she was standing in front of the palace gates, bathing in the morning mist. She revealed a smile to him, just like a fairy wearing a veil, stepping into the mortal world. He rubbed his eyes, almost not daring to believe it. She smiled and walked over to him step by step until she was in front of him. Ning, are you all right? Where did you go? When I came back and saw that you weren't in the palace, I thought something happened to you. He forcefully held her hand. Her palm was soft and warm, carrying her unique fragrance. I'm fine, nothing happened to me. It's just that I made a lot of noise last night while catching the assassins, making the Empress Dowager unable to sleep. I just went to the Peaceful Life Palace to ask for forgiveness from the Empress Dowager. She said with a smile. Hearing this, Mo Chuan's heart finally fell down. Is mother fine? She's fine, she was just a bit frightened. I went to ask for forgiveness from the Empress Dowager, but the Empress Dowager was very unhappy and kicked me out without saying a word. She stuck out her tongue as she spoke, but her face revealed a smile as if she didn't care. Ning, mother has a problem with insomnia, so if she doesn't sleep well, her temper will be a bit bigger. Don't be angry at mother. Mo Chuan said with an apologetic voice. He knew that after Zhao Rong Princess returned to the capital, Empress Dowager Zhou's heart had other thoughts, so she always found Qin Ning unpleasing to the eye, picking on Qin Ning's faults. I'm not angry, this matter was my fault in the first place. I woke the Empress Dowager, so I went to ask for forgiveness early in the morning. I'll ask my master to see if there is any good medicine that can make the Empress Dowager sleep until dawn without any harm to her body. My master's medical skills are this high, he must have a way. Mo Chuan revealed a smile and lovingly pinched her nose. You're this filial to mother, I'll tell her about it. I'd better not. Now the Empress Dowager doesn't like to see me. If she knows that I asked my master for the medicine, she might directly throw it out and not take it. Wouldn't it be a waste of my efforts? Alright, then I won't tell mother, but this is wrong to you. Chen Ning shook her head with a smile. Where did Xiao Ru go? Mo Chuan said. She looked behind Mo Chuan and found that there was no one there. She couldn't help revealing a disappointed expression. Mo Xiao, that damn sissy, he said Xiao Ru was in the Duke Ning Palace, does he dare lie to me? She angrily stomped her foot, I'll find him to settle this debt. Sissy, what sissy? Mo Chuan was confused hearing this. Chen Ning did not even have time to reply before she heard a voice filled with tears of joy. Young miss. Chapter 1325. Xiao Ru. Chen Ning called out in a surprised and happy voice as she walked forward. Young miss. I'm back, I've seen you again. Xiao Ru cried as she threw herself into her embrace. Chen Ning rubbed her black-haired head and her eyes couldn't help becoming wet. Although the two of them had only been separated for a day and a night, it was like they had been separated by life and death. Young miss, this servant thought that I would never see young miss again. Woo, that that red-clothed demon was too terrifying. He killed so many people without even blinking. This servant was very scared and wanted to run out to report this to you, but I was caught by that demon. He is too bad. This servant hates him to death. Xiao Ru fell into Chen Ning's embrace as she sobbed. She cried while complaining about the evil deeds of the red-clothed young master. Chen Ning's heart jumped as she looked at Xiao Ru in surprise. Seeing that her clothes were disheveled, her belt was open, and her belt was broken, she was even more shocked. That red-clothed sissy wouldn't have done something bad to her, right? Xiao Ru, don't cry. Let's go back to the room and slowly talk about it, she said in a soft voice as she pulled Xiao Ru's hand into the room. This matter was related to Xiao Ru's reputation, so she couldn't ask Xiao Ru in front of Mo Chuan and Jue Feng. Woo, young miss, you don't know how evil that red-clothed demon is. He did to me. Xiao Ru's face turned red and she began to cry even louder. Chen Ning's heart trembled as she quickly said, I know. Let's go into the room and talk. She was afraid that something would really happen and Xiao Ru would say it out loud. If Mo Chuan and Jue Feng heard this, how could she live in the future? Young miss, do you know that the red-clothed demon wanted to take revenge on me? He said that he would take off my clothes and hang me on the city gate. Woo, that bastard, he's so bad. He even tore off my belt. I was so scared that I fainted. Xiao Ru sobbed as she spoke. Chen Ning couldn't help letting out a sigh. Her heart that had been in her throat finally fell to the ground. So that red-clothed sissy was just trying to scare Xiao Ru, making her think that Xiao Ru had been bullied. If that red-clothed sissy had really done anything to Xiao Ru, she would not let him off. I know he is a bad person. Xiao Ru, you can relax, he won't bully you anymore. Let's go inside and you can slowly tell me how he bullied you. You can't leave out a single word and tell me everything. I will definitely help you vent your anger. Xiao Ru sobbed a bit and wiped her tears as she said, after that, I fainted. When I woke up, Jue Feng had already come to save me and I never saw that bad person again. Young miss, he asked me about you, asking me what you liked and didn't like, but I didn't tell him a single word. Xiao Ning. Xiao Ru, she tilted her head up proudly. Chen Ning's heart was moved. She stroked her hair and said, you really are my good little sister, but you can't be like this in the future. Whatever he asks, you have to answer. I don't want him to hurt you, so you can be assured that he won't hurt me. He has already fallen into my hands. Chapter 13:26. It's true, I'm not lying to you. But you're very tired right now and you've been frightened, so you need to take a bath and sleep. If there's anything else, we'll talk about it when you wake up. Chen Ning pulled her hand and brought her into her room. Then she called people over and had them prepare water for Xiao Ru to take a bath. After talking to Xiao Ru for a while, she was completely at ease. She knew that Xiao Ru was not injured or humiliated. It seemed like that red-clothed sissy did not lie. He did not make things difficult for Xiao Ru and only scared her unconscious. But even like this, she could not let him go. The dozens of bloody lives in her palace were personally killed by him. After comforting Xiao Ru, she sent her to bed. After seeing her close her eyes and fall asleep, Chen Ning quietly walked out of the room. Jue Feng, what happened to your face? Were you hit by someone? She finally noticed the red and purple finger marks on Jue Feng's face. It was clear that he had been slapped several times and she couldn't help feeling surprised. With Jue Feng's martial arts, who could hit his face? Could it be Mo Chuan? She looked over at Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan had his hands behind his back and stared at her. His meaning was that he was that bored. Naturally he knew where the finger marks on Zhui Feng's face came from. When Zhui Feng went in to save people, his face was still fine, but when he carried Xiao Ru out, there were a few more marks on his face. If it wasn't Xiao Ru who hit him, then there was no other person. Only he knew that men cared about their face, so he knew this in his heart and did not ask. This subordinate didn't see where I was going and hit the door. This was hit. Zhui Feng had an awkward look on his face as he stuttered out. Hit? Chen Ning suspiciously looked at him. He was clearly hit by someone, but why didn't Zhui Feng say anything? Was he protecting the person who hit him? Zhui Feng, there's nothing else here, you can leave first. Mo Chuan gave a soft cough and helped this loyal subordinate escape because Zhui Feng's face was already redder than a cooked prawn. Yes, Emperor. Zhui Feng let out a sigh of relief. After bowing to the two of them, his figure disappeared. You caught the Purple Heaven Pavilion assassin? Is he alive? Mo Chuan asked. Of course he's alive. Killing him like this is too easy for him. Chen Ning hatefully said. Hearing this, Mo Chuan's calm face couldn't help revealing a surprised expression. Although he knew that she was already prepared, the other party was from Purple Heaven Pavilion. Their abilities were second to none. Even he didn't have the confidence to capture them alive. But she, a girl who didn't know martial arts, was actually able to capture a killer from Purple Heaven Pavilion alive. If he did not hear it with his own ears, he would never have believed it. If he did not hear it himself, he never would have believed it. He's in the box over there. I haven't figured out how to deal with him. You came back at the right time. Tell me, do you want to kill him, or do you want him to spit out the location of Purple Cloud Pavilion's lair, and then you can take people to exterminate this sinful abyss and get rid of evil for Jianghu? Mo Chuan couldn't help taking in a cold breath and patting her head. Chapter 13:27. After Mo Chuan said this, he looked at the large wooden box in the yard and slowly walked over. He's in there. Yes. Chen Ning nodded. I just went to pay my respects to the Empress Dowager and locked him in the box. In this short amount of time, he wouldn't have suffocated to death. Mo Chuan, you can ask whatever you want, he has already been completely subdued by me. He will answer whatever you ask and he won't dare to say a single lie. She remembered the fear in the red-clothed young master's eyes when he saw her and she couldn't help proudly raising her nose. Mo Chuan was both surprised and amused. How did you do this, girl? It had to be known that the assassins of Purple Heaven Pavilion were rarely seen. After they completed their mission, they would quickly disappear. Moreover, their methods of killing were very clean, not leaving a single trace. If they failed their mission and were accidentally captured, the first thing they would do would be to commit suicide by taking poison. They would definitely not reveal any information about Purple Heaven Pavilion. So although the people of Jianghu hated Purple Heaven Pavilion to the bone, they were helpless against them. It wasn't that hard. I just used the weapon Master made for me to shoot him 3 times and he obediently asked me everything. Of course, I also gave him a bone-transforming pill to absorb all the internal energy in his body, so even if he wanted to die, he wouldn't be able to. Chen Ning smiled as she took out the wooden spear and handed it over to Mo Chuan. Mo Chuan didn't bother looking at the assassin, his attention was completely focused on the wooden spear in Chen Ning's hand. What kind of weapon is this? Why does it look so strange? He took the wooden spear and weighed it in his hand. He found that it was very light and didn't have any weight. He also didn't see anything strange about it. This weapon is called a pistol, its power is very strong and it's very easy to use. There are 10 thunderbolt bullets in the barrel, it was specially made by me. AI, no, you can't hold the gun like this. You have to hold here and then use the front sight to aim. Also, this little hook is called the trigger. You just need to use your index finger and the bullet will shoot out. Before Chen Ning finished speaking, Mo Chuan had already hooked his finger and there was a loud hong sound that sounded like a clap of thunder. The thunderbolt bullet hit one of the doors of Guan Osprey Palace without missing a beat. The door was sent flying and the solid wood was blasted off. The red paint fell off and the surface was filled with holes, completely unrecognizable. Mo Chuan was shocked. Looking at the wooden spear in his hand, he was filled with disbelief. This thing. Why is it so strong? If he hadn't personally experimented with it, he wouldn't have believed that such a small and light weapon could actually cause such a powerful force. Can it be made in large quantities? Ning, this is called a pistol. If it can be mass-produced, its might will far surpass the mountain-pushing crossbow. If it is used on the battlefield, my West Chu army will be invincible and invincible. Mo Chuan wanted to make West Chu stronger, no longer being oppressed by East Qin. He wanted to take back the territory annexed by East Qin, so when he saw the might of the pistol, his first thought was to use it on the battlefield. The purpose Chen Ning made this pistol was only for self-defense. Of it. Hearing Mo Chuan's words, she couldn't help being stunned. You want to use it on the battlefield? Her expression was a little strange, and she couldn't tell what she was feeling. Chapter 13:28. She understood and supported Mo Chuan's thoughts. She also hoped that the West Chu country would become stronger day by day. So she spent a lot of effort to study the 20 crossbow blueprints for him. The appearance of the mountain-pushing crossbow would definitely cause a stir in the 4 countries. Its strong might would definitely deter the other 3 countries. But no matter how strong it was still a cold weapon. The power of the pistol was something the mountain-pushing crossbow could not compare to. It was much more dangerous than the mountain-pushing crossbow, but the most important thing was that it was much simpler to make than the mountain-pushing crossbow. Because it was simple, it was easy for people to break it. Chen Ning believed that as long as a craftsman who was good at making wood took a pistol and dismantled it, they would be able to quickly make a replica pistol. If the West Chu country could mass-produce pistols, then the other countries could as well. Could it be that after she transmigrated, she had to change the cold weapon era to a modern weapon era? Thinking of the soldiers from both sides meeting on the battlefield, each holding a wooden gun and shooting at the other side, Chen Ning felt a chill run down her spine. She couldn't help getting goosebumps. That's right, this pistol is small and light, it's easy to carry around and it's very convenient to use. I have never seen a weapon that is stronger than this. If it can be mass-produced, wouldn't it be a blessing for my West Chu? Mo Chuan played with the pistol, looking like he didn't want to let it go. He had always thought that the peacock tail he gave her was the strongest hidden weapon, but when he saw this pistol, his entire body was filled with shock. It was no wonder that she could capture the assassin of Purple Heaven Pavilion without much effort. With this extraordinary pistol, all the impossible became possible. The assassin must have been shocked by her secret weapon, so he lost his ability to resist. Chen Ning's mind turned a few times. Hearing Mo Chuan say that this was a blessing for West Chu, she gave a faint bitter smile. The stronger the weapon, the more likely it would be to kill. She couldn't let this kind of weapon appear in the world. Otherwise, the war between the 4 countries would be endless. This pistol was made by my master for me to protect myself, it seems like there is only one of it. I don't know if it can be mass-produced, let me ask my master. Chen Ning had already decided to hide it from Mo Chuan, but this was the first time she had lied to Mo Chuan like this. Her mind was a bit panicked and she looked elsewhere, avoiding Mo Chuan's gaze. Mo Chuan's eyes were like a torch, he couldn't understand her. Hearing her hesitation and her unnatural expression, he pondered it a bit and guessed what she was thinking. He pulled her hand and put the pistol back into her palm. He said meaningfully, "This is what Dr. Gu made for you. You have to keep it well. There is only one such weapon in the world." Chen Ning was a bit surprised and she looked up at Mo Chuan. She saw his clear eyes and her eyes. Of Chen of Mo Chuan of Mo of. Mo of Mo Chuan. Of Mo Chuan Mo of Chuan of Chen of Chu. Chapter 1329. Chen Ning was in his embrace and she couldn't help giving a sigh in her heart, feeling very gratified. He completely understood her meaning. "Ning, you did the right thing. Even if I had the mountain-pushing crossbow, I shouldn't have started a war. The reason you gave me the mountain-pushing crossbow was not to let my West Chu army be invincible on the battlefield and win every battle. Rather, you hoped that once we had a strong weapon, the countries that were eyeing us wouldn't easily invade our West Chu. A wise ruler should be thinking about how to let the citizens live in peace, living a peaceful and happy life, not constantly killing and fighting. Ning, it's a good thing you're by my side to remind me, otherwise I would have become an incapable ruler immersed in war and killing." Mo Chuan's lips curled into a self-mocking smile, but his heart was secretly on guard as his back was covered in a cold sweat. So close. Ever since he obtained the mountain-pushing crossbow blueprint, he had been thinking about many things. He thought about many things, thinking about training an elite army, thinking about creating large amounts of mountain-pushing crossbow, thinking about using the might of the mountain-pushing crossbow to easily defeat the East Qin army. He wanted to take back the territory that East Qin had annexed and he wanted to send troops to the East Qin capital. He wanted to force East Qin to hand over the imprisoned previous emperor and then completely defeat the East Qin army that had been acting high and mighty in front of West Chu for many years. He had also thought about defeating East Qin and then sending troops to Southern Peak, bringing this country that had always had ill intentions towards West Chu into the West Chu country's territory. Of course, this was not something that could be done in one go, he had to slowly plan it out. He believed that there would soon be a day where it could be realized. His heart was stirred up by this lofty aspiration. Until now. Mo Chuan suddenly realized that if he wanted to realize all of this, it would bring the citizens years of war. Countless soldiers would lose their lives in the war, the citizens would lose their loved ones, and they would lose their peaceful homes. Thinking of this, his back couldn't help being covered in a cold sweat and large beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Ning, it's my fault. I misunderstood the true meaning of giving me the mountain-pushing crossbow. It was my killing intent that was too heavy, No, Mo Chuan, it wasn't your killing intent, but rather your ambition. As an emperor, you must have ambition. But now that you've understood, that's good, I'm very happy. Chen Ning had been watching his expression the entire time. The complex emotions in his eyes did not escape her eyes at all. Seeing his eyes become clear and firm, she couldn't help revealing a faint smile. He finally understood her thoughts. She wanted West Chu to become strong enough that enemies would not dare invade them. Only with strong weapons would they have the capital to do so. But being strong did not mean that they had to attack. As an ambitious and vengeful emperor, how could he restrain his growing ambition and not start a war when he had a strong military force? This was the hardest thing to do. Luckily Mo Chuan had finally thought of it and did. You silly girl, if you put so much thought into this, you could have told me this from the start. Do you think I would be stubborn and not listen to anyone? Mo Chuan stroked her hair and revealed a faint smile. Chapter 1330. You are a man, the ruler of a country, your words carry weight. I am just a little girl, so if you listen to everything I say, wouldn't people laugh at you, the ruler of a country, for not having the spirit of a man? Chen Ning pursed her lips into a smile. She looked up at him with eyes filled with tenderness. Whoever dares laugh at me, use this pistol to show them how powerful you are. Mo Chuan's mood was very good and he couldn't help joking with her. Speaking of which, this pistol's power cannot be underestimated. It's just that the sound is too loud, just like thunder on a sunny day. She said in a somewhat annoyed voice, "That's right, it's a pity I don't know how to make a silencer, otherwise it wouldn't make this much noise. If I used this pistol a few more times in the palace, the Empress Dowager wouldn't be able to sleep well at night. She would give the order to burn that thing that makes thunder every day for this widow." Mo Chuan pinched the tip of her nose and stared at her as he said, "All right, you dare speak ill of mother behind her back. See if I don't go to mother and report you." He was about to leave. "Hey, Mo Chuan." Chen Ning was about to pull him back, but her eyes turned and she let go of his sleeve. "All right, quickly report me to the Empress Dowager. Once the Empress Dowager is angry, she will depose me as the Empress. Then she will help your cousin Zhao Rong take the throne, which is exactly what you want." Mo Chuan's face turned dark when he heard this. It was like his feet were rooted to the ground, not moving at all. Go quickly." She gave him a little push, giggling. "You little girl, are you purposely trying to disgust me? You don't want to be my empress, you want to give the throne to Zhao Rong. What do you mean, He grabbed her wrist and a dangerous flame appeared in his eyes. Very good, she was becoming bolder and bolder. It seemed like he had spoiled her too much recently, so she spoke without restraint. If she didn't want to be his woman, whose woman did she want to be? Are you thinking of abandoning me and leaving with your master? Isn't that right? He lowered his brows and spoke in a low voice, but it was like a storm was brewing. Chen Ning suddenly felt guilty. Could it be that he knew? It's clearly you who wants to complain to the Empress Dowager, it's you who wants to make Zhao Rong the Empress. Mo Chuan was filled with anger. It's you who is distorting the truth. When did I say I wanted Zhao Rong the Empress? Mo Chuan angrily said. Didn't you want to complain to the Empress Dowager? Why aren't still not? Why don't you go? I was just purposely scaring you, how could I tell on you? Mo Chuan grabbed her waist and bit her red and delicate lips. Mo Chuan's eyes were filled with tears. You're a good girl, but your mouth is always unforgiving. Fine, I can't win against you, I admit defeat. When he said the word surrender, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. In this world, she was the only one who could make him admit defeat with a smile. Chen. Amidst their smiles, their feelings flowed, and their hearts were filled with boundless warmth. Mo Chuan calmed himself down and said, I want to see what this Purple Heaven Pavilion assassin looks like. He fell into your hands, unable to live or die, he must be very depressed, right? After saying this, he reached out to open the box and was stunned. Female assassin. Puchi. Chapter 1331. Mo Chuan knit his brows. He took the person out of the box and threw her on the ground. No matter how he looked at it, the person lying unconscious on the ground was definitely a woman. She had a snow-white oval face and 2 curved eyebrows. She was wearing the clothes of a palace maid. What's going on? How did he turn into a woman? Chen Ning was shocked. The person Mo Chuan took out of the box was really a living woman. Her figure was slim and her hair was like the clouds. That exquisite body showed that every inch of her was a woman, it was definitely not a man in disguise. She's the assassin from the Purple Heaven Pavilion. Mo Chuan had a look of disbelief. This was because when he grabbed the woman, he held her wrist and noticed that there was not a trace of true qi in her body. Moreover, looking at her figure, she absolutely did not seem to have practiced any martial arts. Even if she had taken the bone-transforming pill and her true chi had been completely refined, it was impossible for her figure to turn into a woman, right? No, she's not. She's a palace maid in my palace. Chen Ning forcefully shook her head. She stared at the palace maid's face and recognized her. She had a photographic memory. Although these palace maids and eunuchs had only been here for a day, she had already memorized every single person's appearance in her mind. Chen Ning charged in front of the box and saw that it was completely empty. The sissy that she had turned into coal had disappeared without a trace. What about the assassin? I clearly put him in the box before leaving. How did he become a palace maid? Could it be he was switched? But he ate my bone-transforming pill and didn't have any internal energy. He was also tied up like a dumpling. How could he escape? Unless someone saved him. Her mind turned very quickly. She immediately thought that something must have happened when she left Guan Osprey Palace to pay her respects to Peaceful Life Palace. That assassin called the Thousand-Faced Young Master must have been switched at this time. Mo Chuan's right foot gently kicked the palace maid's body and unsealed her acupuncture point. What happened to me? Why am I here? The palace maid opened her pair of confused eyes and looked at Mo Chuan and Chen Ning in front of her in a daze. She suddenly recognized them and immediately kneeled down. This servant greets the Emperor and Empress. How did you end up in the box? Where is the original person in the box? Mo Chuan asked in a cold voice. The palace maid looked confused and shook her head. I don't know. I hid in the room and didn't come out. Later, I don't know why I suddenly fell asleep. When I woke up, I saw the Emperor and the Empress. I really don't know anything. Alright, you don't need to say anything. You can leave. She had already guessed that this palace maid was a scapegoat that the assassin's companions had used. She knew nothing about the matter at all. Mo Chuan, it's all my fault. I was too careless. I thought that after giving him the bone-transforming pill, he would lose his ability to resist. But I never would have thought that the Purple Heaven Pavilion's assassin would be so powerful. He was still saved by someone. Chen Ning stomped her feet in, Chen SSST, SSS, S. Mo Chuan held her hand and looked at her as he said, I'm glad you weren't here at that time. Chapter 1332. If I didn't leave, the killer's companion wouldn't have had a chance to save him, but now I let a big fish escape from the net, she said. Mo Chuan patted her head. Silly girl, you don't know how hard it is to deal with the people from Purple Heaven Pavilion. Their assassination methods can be said to come and go like ghosts. Even if you have a powerful pistol, you don't know martial arts. If they hide in the dark and ambush you, how could you escape? Even if they don't use hidden weapons, as long as they silently appear behind you, you won't be able to find them. Your life is basically in their hands. I'm guessing that when the killer fell into your hands, his companion must have been lurking around here, but he was also shocked by your pistol, so he didn't dare to attack you. As soon as you left, he used the trick of swapping to save the killer. He calmly analyzed the situation. Chen Ning nodded. She had the same thoughts as Mo Chuan. But she had clearly obtained a good hand, but the tables had been turned by someone else. This kind of sullen feeling was really terrible. Mo Chuan saw her unhappy expression and softly said, actually you didn't lose out. That killer tried to steal a chicken but ended up losing the rice. Since he fell into your hands, he must have suffered a lot from a little witch like you. Tell me, what did you do to the killer? Chen Ning remembered the fear in the red-clothed young master's eyes when he saw her and she couldn't help smiling. I didn't do anything to him. I just shot him with 3 thunderbolt bullets, blew up his butt, destroyed his mask, and slapped him a few dozen times with the soles of my shoes. I hit him so hard that even his grandmother couldn't recognize him. Other than that, I really didn't touch a single finger of his. Mo Chuan gave a rare smile. His lips curled up from Chen Ning's words and his eyes were filled with a smile. That doesn't count for anything. He couldn't help sympathizing with the killer. Of course it doesn't count for anything. I was planning on taking off his clothes and hanging him in front of the city gates, letting people come in and out look at his face. It's a pity he ran away, AI. She gave a regretful sigh. Mo Chuan stared at her. He really is unlucky to meet you. This kind of method to harm people, how did you even think of it? This isn't the first time. Last time he pretended to be a child to trick us. I had Shui Feng take off his clothes and hang him in front of the city gates. Before she could finish, she suddenly felt a chill on her back. When she looked up, she saw Mo Chuan's eyes releasing a cold glow as he looked at her without blinking. You had Shui Feng strip him. Did you see what he looked like? He slowly said word for word. Chen Ning wanted to nod her head, but she suddenly realized something was wrong. She quickly shook her head and said, No, of course I didn't see him. He looked like a little child that didn't even have hair. What was there to see? She closed her mouth again because Mo Chuan's expression had become very, very terrifying. You think he's not good looking because he hasn't even fully grown his hair. Then what do you think about me? Do you want to see? He suddenly lifted her chin and moved closer to her face, whispering in her ear. Chapter 1333. You. Of course you're pretty, won't. Don't look. But even if you don't want to look, I still want to let you look. Moreover, I think you're pretty. I didn't see enough last time, this time. His words came to an abrupt halt as a devilish smile flashed across his handsome face, making him look exceptionally handsome. Her heart skipped a beat as she looked at him. Mo Chuan, you. No. She could see his intentions and rejected him with a red face. She prepared to turn around and run, but her body suddenly flew into the air. Mo Chuan was already holding her in his arms as he walked into the room. Saying no now, it's too late. Mo Chuan gave a domineering snort. She couldn't find a reason to reject him now. Chen Ning buried her face in his chest, knowing that she couldn't escape this time. Reporting to the Emperor. The Empress Dowager has an urgent matter. Before Mo Chuan could step into the room while holding her, a report suddenly came from outside the palace, making him stop in his tracks. He did not turn around and secretly gritted his teeth as he said in a cold voice, What urgent matter is there? Go and tell the Empress Dowager that this one also has an urgent matter. Once this one is done, I will naturally go to the Peaceful Life Palace to pay my respects to her. When Chen Ning heard the words, finished, her cheeks turned even hotter. She couldn't help pinching his arm and saying in a low voice, Mo Chuan, we still have a lot of time in the future. The Empress Dowager is looking for you, so you should go to the Peaceful Life Palace to see the Empress Dowager first. Mo Chuan looked down at her red cheeks and his face was filled with displeasure. He hatefully said, You want me to go and pay my respects to mother right now, right? She raised her eyelashes and seriously replied, Mo Chuan, there was an assassin in the palace last night and I made such a big noise that even the Empress Dowager was alerted. She even sent Aunt Su Jin to ask if you're safe, so you should go pay your respects to her once you return to the palace. Now that the Empress Dowager has sent someone to summon you, there must be an urgent matter. If you don't go, wouldn't you be hurting the Empress Dowager's heart? Her words were reasonable. When Mo Chuan heard this, his heart skipped a beat. All right, I'll let you go for now. Just obediently stay here and wait for me to come back. He unwillingly put her down, raised her chin, and fiercely kissed her lips. Only then did he turn around and leave, following the eunuch who delivered the message to the Peaceful Life Palace. Chen Ning let out a sigh. Her cheeks were still burning as she patted her chest. Mo Chuan told her to wait for him to come back, but she still had many things to do, so how could she obediently stay in the palace? She sent someone to call Zhui Feng and then went to Dr. Zhang's palace with Zhui Feng's escort. Although the scarlet-clothed young noble had escaped from her hands, she did not feel that there was anything to be afraid of. She was very confident in the bone-transforming pill. Even if the scarlet-clothed young noble's martial arts were high, without internal force, he was just an ordinary person who could not even beat her. As for his purple cloud pavilion's companions, they wouldn't be able to come. On T no his purple his T think of go to her, T treat teal T. Only the power of the thunderbolt bullet was very strong, but it had a fatal weakness, which was that it was too loud. It would be great if she could make a bullet that made no sound. Chapter 1334. Chen Ning believed that Gu Qingze would have a way to solve this problem that gave her a headache. She was not worried about the Purple Heaven Pavilion's assassins coming to take revenge on her, but Zhui Feng's heart was still in his throat. He did not dare be careless and called many hidden guards to protect her. Every tree and bush was an enemy on the way, but nothing strange happened when the two of them safely entered Dr. Zhang's palace. "Master, how is Xiao Bai?" When she entered, she saw Gu Qingze sitting in front of Chu Xiao Bai's bed. He had a look of concentration on his face, not even noticing that she had come in. Gu Qingze thoughtfully withdrew his fingers from Chu Xiao Bai's wrist. He turned to look at her and snappily said, "Why don't you ask how your master is doing?" Ziyi, it seems like his mood is not good." Chen Ning stuck out her tongue and giggled as she said, "Seeing master, this old man is full of energy. His face is glowing and he's very good." "Humph, flatterer." Gu Qingze rolled his eyes at her, but his lips curled into a faint smile. "Master, why hasn't Xiao Bai woken up yet? He has been asleep for several days. Has there been any change in his condition?" Chen Ning walked in front of the bed and looked at the unconscious Chu Xiao Bai. Her face revealed a look of deep worry. "Are you doubting master's medical skills?" Gu Qingze stared at her. "This master has already said that he is fine now. As long as he wakes up, his illness will be cured. Although he has been sleeping, his body is improving day by day. How can you not see such an obvious thing with your master's medical skills?" Her face turned slightly red. Of course she could see that although Chu Xiao Bai was unconscious, his face was becoming rosier and more radiant every day. Moreover, his recovery speed was very fast. It could be imagined that Gu Qingze had given him quite a bit of medicine and spent a lot of effort on it. But worry made one confused. Seeing that Chu Xiao Bai was still unconscious, she couldn't help thinking of something bad. "Master, the weapon you made for me is very good. I used it to catch an assassin yesterday." She took out the wooden spear and changed the topic. Gu Qingze gave a snort and proudly said, "Is there anything that Gu Qingze make that isn't good?" Chen Ning stuck out her tongue and said with a smile, "Master's craftsmanship is naturally #1 in the world, but what? Although this weapon is good, there's one bad thing about it." She deliberately kept him in suspense. "Which one isn't good?" As expected, Gu Qingze fell into her trap. He took the wooden spear from her hands and said, "Tell me, I'll change it immediately. It's that the bullet is bad and it's too loud, just like thunder." "Master, do you have any good ideas to create a silent and powerful bullet?" Chen Ning rubbed her chin as she looked at Gu Qingze. "Master, do you have any good ideas?" Gu Qingze said in a deep voice, "Ning, master, Gu Qingze." "You, Chen Ning," Gu Qingze quickly said. He quickly dismantled the wooden spear, and his technique was extremely proficient. Yes, this round thing is called a bullet. It's usually placed in the magazine, and when the trigger is pulled, it will be fired from the muzzle. I see. Gu Qingze nodded. He had made this pistol according to Chen Ning's blueprints, but he had never tried using it before. Chapter 1335. Yes, Master really is Master, so powerful. Chen Ning gave him a thumbs up. You're the one who's really powerful. You actually made such a strong explosive bullet. The assassin you caught yesterday, his head must have been blown up by you, right? Gu Qingze carefully put down the thunderbolt bullet. He knew that although this thing looked small, if it accidentally exploded, the power would not be small. I was lenient and didn't aim at his head. I only blew up his butt. It's a pity that I was too careless and let him run away. Chen Ning patted her head in annoyance. Gu Qingze said in astonishment, who is so powerful that they can actually run away from your hands? Tell me about it. He revealed a very interested expression. Chen Ning thought about it and asked, Master, do you know about Purple Heaven Pavilion? Purple Heaven Pavilion. Of course I've heard of it. It's a secretive assassin organization that has risen in Jianghu in recent years. I heard that they are very powerful. Gu Qingze's brows slightly jumped and he took in a breath of cold air. Could it be that the person who tried to assassinate you was an assassin from Purple Heaven Pavilion? Last time that Wood Chasing Wind said that you were in danger, could it be that you were targeted by an assassin from Purple Heaven Pavilion? Yes. She nodded. Gu Qingze couldn't help but knit his brows. How did you offend someone from Purple Heaven Pavilion for no reason? Do you know that they are like maggots in the bone? Once you offend them, they will always pester you until you die. Master, it's not that I offended them, it's that they accepted money from someone else and wanted my head. Although my head isn't worth any money, I'm not willing to let them take it away for free. If they want to kill me, I naturally have to resist. I can't just obediently stretch out my neck and let them poke me, right? Don't you think so? Wu, of course. You are my disciple. If they want to kill you, then they are not giving face to Master. Shenlas, tell me, who did you offend? Who wants your head? Gu Qingze's face became serious. Actually I didn't offend them. It's just that someone doesn't like me and wants to pull me down from the position of Empress and replace me. If I don't die, she will never be able to take my position. Chen Ning faintly said. Gu Qingze understood once he heard this, so it's because love turns into hatred. Chen girl, you are the scapegoat for your husband. I just can't see what's so good about that emperor husband of yours that he's worthy of you treating him so wholeheartedly and even inviting a fatal disaster for him. Humph. Your emperor husband doesn't know about this. Why didn't he stand up for you and deal with the original mastermind who hired the killer to kill you? Chen Ning shook her head and said, this matter is a long story. He can't touch this person and he can't touch him. Gu Qingze raised his eyebrows. Tell me, who is that person? I don't believe that he can't move even if he has 3 heads and 6 arms. She is Duke Ning's beloved daughter, Xiaorong Junju. So it's just a princess. Could it be that you, as the Empress, can't even deal with a princess? Gu Qingze sneered. Chapter 1336. Chen Ning then said, last night, I had already caught the assassin she sent to assassinate me and the assassin personally confessed that he was sent by the Xiaorong princess. It's a pity that because I was careless, the assassin escaped. Now that there is no witness or evidence, even if I am the Empress, I can't just say that she is the killer. She is the killer. After hearing this, Gu Qingze was silent for a while before suddenly asking, you just said that she is Duke Ning's daughter? Chen Ning nodded. Tomorrow is the 5th month's Dragon Boat Festival, which is also the Zhao Rong Princess' birthday. Your master has heard that the palace is holding a banquet to celebrate the Zhao Rong Princess' birthday, is that right? Gu Qingze asked. She made an "ee" sound and then said in a strange voice, "Master, you don't leave your house, but your news is really fast. Even this kind of thing has reached your ears." Gu Qingze ignored her and threw out a large red invitation card from his sleeve. A few large words were written neatly on it, "To the ancient divine doctor." Chen Ning picked up the invitation card and opened it. She understood with a single glance. So Duke Ning is inviting you to the palace for a banquet. She raised her head and looked at Gu Qingze. "Master, are you going?" "I wasn't going, but now your master has changed his mind," Gu Qingze said with an expressionless face. He moved the armrest of the chair a bit and the armrest that was like a small box opened. He reached in and took out a thin item. Chen Ning looked at it with wide eyes. She felt that Gu Qingze's chair was like Du Shenyang's treasure chest, containing all kinds of strange things. Something that could be hidden in this chair by Gu Qingze was definitely not a normal item. The spirit rhinoceros pill from last time was a rare treasure, but this time he took out. Was it a piece of clothing? Gu Qingze stroked that thin piece of clothing and his eyes revealed a look of deep thought. It was like he was lost in his memories, not making a sound for a long time. Chen Ning also quietly stood there, not bothering him. "I've left this piece of clothing here for 10 years, I'll give it to you today." Gu Qingze came back to his senses and gave the clothing in his hand to Chen Ning. She did not take it and shook her head as she said, "This piece of clothing must be very precious. It is master's most treasured item, I can't take it." "What, you can see the benefits of this piece of clothing?" Gu Qingze raised his brows and looked at her with a strange look. "I can't see it, but master keeping it for 10 years shows that it is not normal, so I can't take it." Gu Qingze put on a stern face and said, "If I say I'll give it to you, then I'll give it to you. What are you trying to make excuses for? Do you still want to be my disciple? Do you think master is such a petty person? Do you think your master is such a petty person? You can't even give your disciple a piece of clothing. That's right, this gray robe doesn't match your status as the Empress. You don't want it, do you? Chen. How can I refuse master's generous gift? Thank you, master." Ning Chen sheathed master's gift, Chen, Ning, Chen, master's Chen, Chen's son. Upon closer inspection, it was neither silk nor silk, its color dark. He couldn't help but mutter to himself. Chapter 1337. Master, this robe is actually a heaven and earth treasure. Chen Ning's eyes opened wide. Gu Qingze rolled his eyes at her and said, "Of course, it's made from the cold silk of the snowy peaks of the extreme north. It can't be damaged by swords or spears, and it can't be invaded by water or fire. You little girl only know how to cause trouble, even daring to provoke the assassins of the Purple Heaven Pavilion. Aren't you afraid of endless trouble? But you'll be much safer if you wear this robe. You just need to be careful, don't let someone cut off your head while you're asleep. Can't be damaged by swords or spears, and it can't be invaded by water or fire." Chen Ning was pleasantly surprised. Her hands holding the robe were trembling from excitement. She already knew that this robe was not ordinary, but she never thought that it would be a treasure that everyone dreamed of. In this era of cold weapons, having this robe was equal to having a protective talisman. "Master, this gift of yours is too precious, I really can't accept it. Master, you should keep this robe for yourself. Master, you don't know martial arts, what would you do if you encounter danger?" Although she liked this snow silk robe, she still gave it back to Gu Qingze. "Do you think your master is a good-for-nothing like you? So what if I don't know martial arts? If I wanted to learn martial arts, I would have already become the #1 expert in the world. I don't want to learn those fighting and killing skills. Other than killing people, it's just killing people, humph. I don't know martial arts, but I can still make you obedient, do you believe me? Gu Qingze had a proud look on his face. His right hand was placed on the armrest as he stared at Chen Ning. Chen Ning remembered the mechanism on his chair and quickly nodded. I believe you, of course I believe you. Master, so the reason you don't learn martial arts is because you don't want to kill people? Her heart involuntarily filled with respect for Gu Qingze. Your master studies medicine. Medicine focuses on saving patients, but martial arts focuses on fighting and killing, taking people's lives with each move. If I learn martial arts, wouldn't it be the opposite of my medical skills? Gu Qingze softly said. But master, learning martial arts doesn't mean you have to take people's lives and fight and kill, right? It can also punish evil and help the weak. To kill or not to kill, it all depends on a person's thoughts. If a person's heart is good, even if they learn martial arts, they won't kill the innocent. If a person's heart is evil, even if they don't learn martial arts, they will still do evil things. Just like Mo Chuan, his martial arts are very good, but I have never seen him kill a person. Master, don't you agree? My ass. Gu Qingze felt that what she said was reasonable, but when he heard her use Mo Chuan as an example, he was filled with anger. He angrily said, in the future, don't mention that fellow's name in front of your master. If you think he's good, why are you looking for me? That's right, his martial arts are good and he can protect you. Of course you don't want this tattered robe I gave you. If you don't want it, then I'll give it to someone who wants it. He took the snow silk robe from Chen Ning's hands and stuffed it back into the chair like a rag, not treating it like a rare treasure at all. At the same time, he turned the chair around and turned his back to Chen Ning. It was clear that he was not liked and did not even want to look at her. Chen Ning never thought that Gu Qingze would have this kind of temper. Thinking about it, she didn't say anything wrong, she just casually praised Mo Chuan. Chapter 1338. She didn't know what grudge the two of them had in their past lives, but they didn't like each other from the moment they met. When she mentioned Gu Qingze to Mo Chuan also had a sour expression. This made it hard for her to be stuck in the middle. Master, when did I say I didn't care about the treasure you gave me? You said you wanted to give it to someone who cared about it, but who did you want to give it to? Chen Ning said with an embarrassed smile. She knew that it was she who had angered Gu Qingze, and when she recalled that ever since she acknowledged him as her master had treated her wholeheartedly. Even the incomparably precious rhinoceros pill and snow silk robe had been given to her without even blinking. How could she not be moved by such a loving heart? But thinking of how she hadn't done anything for her master and had angered him, her heart was filled with guilt. Who this master wants to give it to, does it matter to you? Gu Qingze still had his back facing Chen Ning as he coldly said, you can leave. If you don't leave, don't blame me for being impolite. He actually turned his back on her, not giving her any face at all. Chen Ning's eyes turned and she pointed at the gun that Gu Qingze had turned into a pile of wood. If master wants to chase me away, shouldn't you at least restore this gun? Without it to protect my life, if the assassins of the Purple Heaven Pavilion come back, I'm afraid I won't be able to live to see tomorrow's sun. She deliberately made it sound like the situation was very dangerous. Gu Qingze gave a snort, not being moved by her at all. Didn't you say that you don't want anything of mine? If you want to save your life, then go find your martial arts emperor husband. Why are you looking for a master who doesn't know martial arts? Leave, quickly leave. He mercilessly ordered her to leave. After saying this, he gently pressed down on the armrest and a black rope came out. It wrapped around Chen Ning's waist and with a swing, he had already thrown her out the window. Shui Feng was standing on the wall looking around with a vigilant expression. Suddenly seeing Qin Ning being thrown out the window, he was shocked and flew over to support her. "Empress, are you all right?" The black rope flew out and in the blink of an eye, it had already returned to the window. Qin Ning steadied herself and revealed a bitter smile. She shook her head and said, "I'm fine. There's an assassin inside." Shui Fang's eyes turned cold as he looked at the closed window. "No, I'm not an assassin. It was me who made Master angry, so he kicked me out," Qin Ning said loudly to the window. The room was silent, not a single sound came out. Although Shui Feng respected Gu Qingze a lot, seeing him treat Qin Ning like this, he couldn't help feeling a bit angry. He clenched his fists, but before he could say anything, Shui Feng said, "Shui Feng." Shui Feng was stunned as he looked at Qin Ning's face. Qin Ning's face did not show any signs of anger. Rather she giggled and said to the window, "Master, then I'm leaving. I'm really leaving." Gu Qingze still did not say anything in the room, but the window was suddenly pushed open and something was thrown into Qin Ning's arms. Qin Ning looked down and saw that it was the pistol. It had originally been disassembled by Gu Qingze, but in this short period of time, Gu Qingze had actually reassembled it back to its original state. Even the thunderbolt bullets were loaded into the magazine. The corners of her lips curled up as she chuckled. Chapter 1339. Returning to the palace, the sky was getting dark and Nemo Chuan still hadn't returned. Qin Ning felt that it was a bit strange. Not only was Nemo Chuan not here, Xiao Si was not here either. Xiao Ru had slept for an entire day and her little face was completely red. She was filled with energy and seeing Qin Ning return, she happily threw herself into her embrace. She wouldn't let go no matter what, just like reuniting after a disaster. "Young miss, you left this servant alone again. Where did you go? Why didn't you bring this servant with you?" She pouted her lips and revealed a wronged expression. When Qin Ning saw her expression, her heart turned soft. She rubbed her hair like she was rubbing a kitten. "I went to see my master and saw that you were sleeping like a pig, so I couldn't bear to call you. Next time I leave the palace, I'll definitely bring you out to play and bring you to eat good food, all right? Your master. It's the ancient divine doctor." Xiao Ru was stunned for a bit before she reacted. Then she revealed a smile and clapped her hands as she said, all right, you have to bring me next time." She was still a child. Hearing that there was good food to eat and fun to play with, she revealed a smile and threw all her worries to the back of her head. She even forgot about the shadow that the red-clothed young master gave her. "Where's Mo Chuan? Is he not back yet?" Qin Ning asked. Xiao Ru shook her head. "When this servant woke up, I didn't see the emperor. Not only did I not see the emperor, I also didn't see Xiao Si." "That's right, young miss, I was captured by the red-clothed demon." "Did Xiao Si come to find me?" Her face was slightly red as she asked in a shy voice. Qin Ning looked at her with a smile. She scratched the tip of her nose and said with a smile, "What do you think?" Xiao Ru lowered her head and said, "This servant doesn't know. I haven't seen him in several days and haven't talked to him." She was a bit sad. When she was captured, she had been hoping for someone to save her and the person she wanted to see the most was Xiao Si. But Xiao Si did not say a single word of greeting from beginning to end, not even showing his face. The one who came to save her in the end was not Xiao Si at all, but rather that wooden Jue Feng. Qin Ning patted her head and said with a faint smile, "Isn't it easy for you to see Xiao Si? When Mo Chuan comes back, he will naturally come back. If you have anything you want to say to him, just say it to him." She had already discussed it with Mo Chuan that he wouldn't stop her from seeing Xiao Si in the future. They were both young, so they were just chatting and laughing, so there was no love involved. The worries she had before were completely unfounded. Chen Ning thought that Xiao Ru would be happy hearing this, but who would have thought that Xiao Ru would shake her head? I don't want to see Xiao see that much. I had a lot of things I wanted to tell him, but after not seeing him for so long, I don't remember. Xiao Ru looked outside. Chen Ning asked in a curious voice, why are you looking for Zhui Feng? Zhui Feng had escorted her back, but once she entered the Guan Osprey Palace, Zhui Feng hid himself. As a secret guard, he was used to hiding in the shadows, not being discovered by anyone. Chapter 1341. If the young miss likes it, I'll embroider a few more for you. What designs do you like? I'll immediately go embroider them. Xiao Ru's tears immediately turned into a smile. All right, I like orchids, plum blossoms, and dragonflies on top of lotuses. Chen Ning said with a smile. This servant will go embroider them now. Xiao Ru smiled as she ran back to her room. Chen Ning smiled as she watched her leave, and she couldn't help letting out a sigh of relief. It was a good thing this girl's mind was pure and she was easily coaxed. Returning to her room, after waiting for a while, Zhui Feng brought news of Mo Chuan. Empress Dowager Zhou's body was sick, so Mo Chuan stayed in the Peaceful Life Palace to take care of her. Xiao Si also stayed in the Peaceful Life Palace. Hearing this, Chen Ning knit her brows. She remembered that when she went to visit Empress Dowager Zhou this morning, although Empress Dowager Zhou wasn't in a good mood due to lack of sleep, when she was chased out of the palace, she didn't seem sick at all. But the Empress Dowager was sick, so how could she not visit her? She stood up to leave and said, Zhui Feng, tell people to prepare a sedan, I want to visit the Empress Dowager. Zhui Feng hesitated a bit before saying, the Empress Dowager has ordered that no one is allowed to disturb her, so it's best if the Empress doesn't go. Oh. Chen Ning stopped and turned around, then what did the Emperor say? The Emperor told this subordinate to report to the Empress that he will stay in the Peaceful Life Palace tonight to take care of the Empress Dowager, allowing the Empress to rest early. Also, the Emperor has hidden guards inside and outside the palace, so the Empress can rest in peace. Chen Ning remained silent, feeling that Empress Dowager Zhou's illness was strange. If she was really sick, why didn't she call for a doctor and instead had Mo Chuan stay to take care of her? This was clearly an excuse to keep Mo Chuan in the Peaceful Life Palace, separating her and Mo Chuan. But why did she do this? What was her goal? She saw that Zhui Feng was about to leave, but she suddenly thought of something and called out to him. Other than the Emperor, who else is staying in the Peaceful Life Palace? Zhui Feng stuttered as he said, this subordinate. This subordinate doesn't know. Chen Ning had already guessed it, there's also Zhao Rong Princess, right? Zhui Feng did not reply and lowered his head, not daring to look at Chen Ning. She had a cold smile. So Empress Zhou had this idea. Using his illness as an excuse to give Mo Chuan and Zhao Rong a chance to interact, it could be considered a lot of effort. Mo Chuan was very filial to his mother. Even if he knew that Empress Dowager Zhou was pretending to be sick, he had to stay and serve her. I understand. You can leave now. She waved her hand. Zhui Feng let out a sigh of relief and walked out like he had been granted amnesty. Zhui Feng, you. What other orders does the Empress have? Zhui Feng's breathing couldn't help stopping as he turned around. Chen Ning's face was very calm, not showing any anger or annoyance. Her eyes fell onto Zhui Feng's face, sizing him up. That probing gaze made Zhui Feng's heart jump up and down, making his body feel uncomfortable. But he still kept his cool and didn't say a word. Chen Ning took out Xiao Ruxiu's pouch. She wanted him to take it, but seeing his blank expression, she changed her mind. This pouch was little Rue's gratitude towards him. Since this blockhead did not appreciate it, then why waste little Rue's good intentions? There's nothing else. You can leave, she said lightly. Chapter 1342. Chen Ning was prepared to go to bed when the door was suddenly pushed open. Xiao Ru ran in a panic, running to the bed in one breath and shouting, "Young miss! What happened? Did you hear a sound?" Xiao Ru had a panicked expression as she looked out the window. "What sound?" Chen Ning asked in a curious voice. "Cat. Cat meowing," Xiao Ru said in a trembling voice. "Cat meowing." Chen Ning couldn't help looking at Xiao Ru. She had indeed heard cat meowing, but she didn't care. She patted Xiao Ru's shoulder and said with a smile, "A few cat meowing scared you like this? Xiao Ru, are you born in the year of the mouse?" Xiao Ru pouted, "Young miss, you're making fun of this servant again. This servant is really scared. That cat meowing is very strange. Moreover, it's not just one cat, but rather many cats that are making strange meowing sounds. The sound is just outside the window. This servant is too scared to sleep." Chen Ning said with a faint smile, "It's spring right now. It's normal for cats to meow. What's so strange about it? Since you're afraid, you can sleep with me tonight." "How can I do that?" Xiao Ru's eyes opened wide. "This is the Emperor's dragon bed. How could this servant dare?" "What do you mean dare or not dare? It's just a bed. Mo Chuan will stay in the peaceful life palace tonight to take care of the Empress Dowager, so you can sleep with me." She didn't say anything as she pulled Xiao Ru onto the bed and covered her with the blanket. Xiao Ru still had a worried look on her face. She would occasionally get up and look out the window. "What are you afraid of? Mo Chuan won't come back. Even if he comes back, he's not a tiger. Would he eat you?" "What, are you still afraid of those cats?" Chen Ning teased her. Xiao Ru's heart trembled as she shrank back to her side. "Young miss, don't you think that the meowing of these cats is very strange? This servant has often heard cats meowing before, but it's completely different from these cats. When I hear these cats meowing, I feel like something bad is about to happen." It was fine if she didn't mention it. Once she mentioned it, Chen Ning also paid attention. She listened with rapt attention and heard that the cat's meowing was a bit strange. The sound was filled with excitement, as well as an indescribable evil aura. You always like to let your imagination run wild. It's just a cat's meow. Go to sleep. Tomorrow is the Dragon Boat Festival. There will be a big banquet in the palace. All the princes and ministers will be attending. You have to get enough sleep to be energetic tomorrow. Don't you like crowds? Tomorrow the palace will be very lively. I believe you will have a good time. Don't you like crowds? Xiao Ru had an unhappy look on her face. This servant doesn't want to participate in that palace banquet. Young miss, you don't need to participate either. This servant already knows that the Empress Dowager wants to celebrate the Zhao Rong princess' birthday. That Zhao Rong princess is so hateful, this servant gets angry when she sees her, humph. Hearing her naive words, Chen Ning revealed a faint smile and said, "You don't have to attend, but as the Empress, I have to attend." "Alright, if you don't want to go tomorrow, then just obediently stay in the Guan Osprey Palace. I'll have Xiao Si stay and chat with you, alright?" Chapter 1343. Chen Ning said with a smile, "But you hate the Zhao Rong princess, you get angry just looking at her. How could I bear to make my Xiao Ru unhappy? Then this servant will close my eyes and not look at her. This servant's eyes will only look at the young miss and I won't get angry. Young miss, this servant will follow you. Xiao Ru firmly said. All right, then you'll come with me to the banquet. Now, close your eyes and obediently go to sleep. Chen Ning said with a smile. Xiao Ru really closed her eyes. As long as she was by Chen Ning's side, she would feel at ease. Even if the sky fell down, she wouldn't be afraid. After a while, her breathing became smooth and she fell asleep. Chen Ning opened her eyes and fell into a daze looking at the embroidered patterns on the ceiling. Outside the window, the wild cats were crying out, but she turned a deaf ear to them. She was just thinking in her heart. At this time, what was Mo Chuan doing? What was the Zhao Rong princess doing? But Mo Chuan would not do anything that would let her down. He knew what he was doing. Her lips curled into a smile, secretly laughing at herself, thinking the same thing as Xiao Ru. She closed her eyes and fell asleep not long after. In the morning of the next day, Xiao Ru prepared the toiletries and helped Chen Ning dress up. Young miss, what dress will you wear for the banquet today? You have to choose the most beautiful one, the most dazzling one, to anger that Zhao Rong princess to death. Xiao Ru opened the suitcases one by one, choosing the dress for Chen Ning for the banquet. Chen Ning didn't mind as she said, she is the main character today, so she must be dressed even more beautifully than a peacock. Why should I steal her limelight? I'll just choose a plain dress. Plain dress? No, no, no. Yeah, this dress is so beautiful. If young miss wears this, you'll look like a fairy descending to the mortal world. No. You'll look even better than a fairy descending to the mortal world. Xiao Ru suddenly found a brand new dress in the suitcase and couldn't help letting out a cry of praise. Chen Ning looked over and saw that the dress was simple and elegant in color. The exquisite material was like moonlight shining down on the ground. It was elegant without losing its nobility, it was gorgeous with a hint of elegance. Where did this dress come from? This was the first time she had seen this kind of exquisite dress. It was as beautiful as a heavenly dress made by a weaver. It must have been given to you by the emperor. This set of clothes was placed at the top of this suitcase. This servant saw it immediately. Young miss, can you wear this set today? Xiao Ru's eyes lit up as she looked at Chen Ning. Chen Ning's heart skipped a beat as she suddenly thought of Mo Chuan's words. He said that he never cared for the gifts he gave him. At that time, he was puzzled. Why didn't I see any gifts from him? Later she understood that everything in this room was personally picked out by Mo Chuan for her. From the big bed screen to the small hairpin, each item was filled with Mo Chuan's affection. This dress was placed in the most conspicuous place in the suitcase, so Mo Chuan must have prepared it for her. He knew that she didn't like bright or strong colors, and this moonlight dress was just what she wanted. All right, I'll wear this. Chen Ning revealed a faint smile and nodded. How could she disappoint Mo Chuan's intentions? When she finished packing and slowly turned around, Xiao Ru, who was standing behind her, couldn't help letting out a low cry of surprise. Her voice was filled with praise and disbelief. Young miss, you're too beautiful. This servant has never seen you this beautiful before. Chapter 1344. Xiao Ru nodded like she was pounding garlic. Her eyes sparkled like stars as she smiled from ear to ear. Young miss, once you appear, that princess consort will definitely not be able to compare to you. This servant can't wait to see what she looks like when she sees you. Should we immediately go to the banquet? Seeing her impatient appearance, Chen Ning pursed her lips into a smile. No rush, no rush. It's still early, we still have time. The ones who should be anxious right now aren't us, but rather someone else. She pointed out in a meaningful voice. Xiao Ru did not understand. She just stared at her in a daze. Chen Ning suddenly knit her brows. Xiao Ru, do you smell a special smell? What special smell? Xiao Ru forcefully sniffed and shouted, if young miss didn't say it, this servant wouldn't have been able to smell it. It seems like there really is a special smell, but this servant doesn't know what it is. There's a faint fragrance and it's a bit spicy. She couldn't help laughing as she said this. She awkwardly scratched her head. This servant is really stupid, I can't smell this spicy smell. Chen Ning did not laugh because Xiao Ru had the same feeling as her. She walked around the room a few steps and then stopped. This smell seems to be coming from young miss. Ah, I understand, it's the smell of these clothes. They must have been placed in a camphor wood box, so this is the smell of camphor wood. If young miss doesn't like it, this servant will go get some flower dew. The smell of camphor wood. It doesn't seem like it. Chen Ning shook her head and revealed a look of deep thought. Xiao Ru, open the box with this set of clothes. Yes, young miss. Although she didn't know what Chen Ning wanted to do, Xiao Ru still quickly opened the box. Chen Ning walked over and saw that the box was filled with several different kinds of beautiful dresses. She picked one up and sniffed it. Then she gave it to Xiao Ru. She picked up another one and also sniffed it. These clothes don't have any smell. Only the clothes young miss is wearing do. This is really strange. Xiao Ru also noticed this problem. Chen Ning nodded. Something was wrong. She began to search through her memories. This smell was very cool and it was not unpleasant. After smelling it, it gave her a refreshing feeling. It didn't seem like a poison. But why was it not on the other clothes and only this set of clothes had it? At the same time, she recalled the strange cry of the wild cat outside the window last night. The cry was filled with excitement, agitation, and a faint evil aura. Suddenly, a noun popped up in her mind. Could it be? Chen Ning's lips slightly curled up as she revealed a mocking smile. What a good Xiao Rong Junju. She really put in a lot of effort to come up with this idea. It must have been hard on her. But the clothes she gave me are quite to my liking, she muttered to herself. Xiao Ru was shocked. Young miss, Xiao Ru's heart. Xiao Ru was Zhao's and Xiao Ru. That's right. Chen Ning calmly nodded. Chapter 1345. Chen Ning raised her brows. She stroked the silk fabric and the exquisite embroidery on the clothes as she revealed a faint smile. Burn it. It's rare for the princess to spend so much effort to give me such a beautiful set of clothes. If I burn it, it would be too much of a pity and I would be letting down the princess' good intentions. She giggled and said. But young miss, you've said before that a person who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Also, that bad princess really wanted to give it to you, so why didn't she just openly give it to you? Instead she sneakily put it in the suitcase. This is clearly a weasel paying respects to a chicken, she doesn't have good intentions. Xiao Ru angrily said. This was the first time she felt that she was very smart. Not bad, Xiao Ru, you've made great progress. You're using idioms very well and you're becoming smarter, being able to see that she has bad intentions. Chen Ning couldn't help praising her. Xiao Ru's face turned red in embarrassment. Young miss, don't praise this servant. The truly smart person is the young miss. Compared to this servant is just a block of wood. That's right, young miss, quickly take it off. There might be poison on these clothes. She prepared to help Chen Ning take off her clothes, but Chen Ning stopped her. Poison. I'm not afraid of poison and there isn't any poison on these clothes. It's just a strange powder that has been sprinkled on it. This powder seems to be good for people. Take a sniff and what do you feel? Xiao Ru took a strong sniff and said, this servant feels very cool and comfortable. She felt her head become cool, but her face became even more confused. "Young miss, the more you say, the more confused this servant is. Could it be that the princess doesn't want to harm you? This servant does not believe that she would be this kind." Chen Ning curled her lips into a smile and said, "Of course she has bad intentions. The powder on these clothes is called cat mint, it has a refreshing effect. However, the ones who like this smell the most are not people, but rather cats." "Cats?" Xiao Ru's eyes went wide. "Cat mint is also called cold mint, it gives off a special smell. Cats are much more sensitive to smell than humans, so they like this special smell very much. However, if they smell this smell too much, they will become very excited and hallucinate. They will roll around, bite, and even chase things with this smell. That's why we heard the strange cries of the wild cats outside the window last night. They were all attracted by the cat mint smell. Only the clothes were placed in the box at the time, so the smell was much lighter, so the cats only let out their cries. If this smell became stronger, what would happen?" Xiao Ru's eyes revealed a look of fear. This servant doesn't know, but this servant thinks it will be very scary. Perhaps all the cats will be attracted by this smell and then. She gave a cold shiver. Chen Ning continued for her, "Then they will jump at the person wearing the clothes. They will bite and scratch, becoming crazy and reckless. The cat's claws are very sharp, so if they go crazy." She had a cold smile. It had to be said, this was a very clever and sinister plan. If she hadn't found the cat mint in her memory and heard the wild cat's cries last night, perhaps she really would have fallen for her plan. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.